And we're live. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Otter Players Podcast, episode 19. This week, as every gamer knows, is the Summer Games Fest. Whether you were disappointed or you were excited, we're going to talk about it, the highlights, the disappointments, everything in between, some of the
The
amazing
agenda.
reveals. Absolutely. Plenty happened. Plenty happened during, after. It wasn't a whole event, and there's still more going on as we're talking about it. The Future Games Showcase turned out to be quite an incredible showcase, full of plenty of surprises. As you can see on the screen now, Goat Simulator 3's DLC, which
Direct
Kay is
DLC.
very excited about. But yeah, no, without further ado, we'll go ahead and get further into it and see what everybody's been playing. Weeb, how are you, man? And what have you been playing?
I'm good. Thank you, Nate. Just got back from an anime con, and so already showed you my swag.
Oh yeah.
Um, hell yeah. So I haven't been playing much today, but I've been mostly playing Midnight Suns.
Absolutely
Uh,
fire.
it's absolutely fire. Yeah, I downloaded it from PlayStation Plus, but then I realized that there was some story DLC, so I figured like I like this game. I don't want to lose it when it drops from the server, so I just bought the entire Legendary Edition.
Hey, love to hear
Um,
it.
yeah, I mean, and that's how you do it, right? I mean, you can subscribe to the servers, but if you like a game, just buy it, right? Like I want to own my games. I don't want to rent them.
Exactly. I'm right there with you.
So I'm enjoying that. I've played a few other games in between. Like I'm now hopped back into Astropod briefly because they announced an update. It's not much. It's more of a teaser for the upcoming Astrobot game, but I had to check it out.
Okay.
Uh, Played a bit of Dave the Diver and yeah, a
Nice,
bit for
nice, nice.
yeah, and that's about it. Yeah,
Hey, it sounds
You
like you
enjoyed
are
it?
enjoying yourself.
absolutely.
And next on the block here, we got Morgan Kimes herself. How are you, ma'am? And what have you been playing?
Yeah, here giving out my government name. What's wrong with you?
Maybe
Uh,
your name is on the
shh, don't worry about that. All right,
thing.
just need to know.
Uh huh.
But yeah. So yeah, I've been playing. Like I said last week, I finished in Platinum Stellar Blade. So now I'm kind of focusing on my backlog, and I thought I'd play something a little smaller, a little you know
You have
in
a
scope.
backlog? I'm shocked.
Anyway. I decided to go back and finish Coffee Talk 2. Uh, Played and beat the first one, platinumed it. So, when got the second one, played and beat and platinumed that one. Really like the series. It's a really like laid back, kind of relaxing um, game where you're essentially a barista. You own a coffee shop and you basically help the people, your loyal customers out in their lives. Your coffee and your services are uh an important part of the people in the town of Seattle that you serve. It's important in their lives, and you help them with their problems, yada yada yada, that kind of stuff. And it's essentially based on how well you serve them, and because they'll ask you for specific drinks, or they'll ask you to make a drink for me that's sweet or something, something like that. And based on how well you fill out their orders, it can have a positive or negative effect on their lives. Like, do it well, and the positivity of that drink will kind of have like a ripple of butterfly effect on the people, and you help them, and now they're thinking clearly and they make good decisions, and so on and so on. And if you mess up their drink, then it all of a sudden now they have a bad day and they're making bad decisions. So it's a really good game. It's really laid back, and apparently they announced something else, the studio who made it. So I'll be looking to see what else they make. And yeah, but now I am back on Persona 3 Reload. Hopefully trying to focus on this game and get the plat for this, and then probably after that, go on to Persona 5 Royale and finish up the platinum for that. I'm trying to finish up my Atlas games before Metaphor comes out,
Mm-hmm.
because
You're a
yeah,
mad woman to actually platinum Persona game.
yeah, it's possible. You just gotta focus. But
It's one of a lot of fusion you need to do. A lot of
yeah,
farming
I don't
for
mind. It's like, again, it's like I don't mind farming as long as I like the game, and
mm,
I love Persona, so farming
gotcha.
doesn't really affect me. Same way with Octopath, I had to farm a lot, but that didn't bother me. But yeah. Um, Speaking of Octopath, yeah, I'm definitely getting Octopath 1 now that, yay, Square Enix has decided to finally grace us with the first one on PlayStation. So I'll be picking that up sometime and then adding that to the backlog to be another future platinum. But yeah, it's just been so many games, and we all been watching the showcases together. It's just so many more games that have been announced, especially like in the indie department, that looks so good to me. And I'm just like, and they're all coming out within the next like couple months, and it's so much. Like I'm not trying to hear anybody who says 2024 is slow, or it's not enough games, or it's boring. Like, no, like I wish I had that problem because I have too many games I want to play right now. But
Exactly.
yeah,
That's
that's
what's up.
the update for me for the week.
Sounds like you are thoroughly enjoying 2024, and it sounds like it's going to get a lot better, and have plenty more to
It's a
play.
it's a it's a love hate relationship, but yeah.
Right? Right? You love to have too many games to play, but you also hate the fact that you can't play them. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
pretty much.
absolutely. And last but not least, at least until Kay potentially gets back, um, Omar, what have you been playing, sir?
What up? What up? Another hotel takeover, I see.
Absolutely.
What have I? So I finished a Psychonaut 2. Amazing game. I can't stress this enough.
That was random. I did not know you were playing that. You snuck that one past me. Psychonauts 2,
I,
huh?
I love this game so much. I didn't even beat Psychonaut 1. It got boring at the end.
Most people
Oh,
didn't beat
shame
one.
on you.
But 2 is so fantastic. It's so funny. The story is so well done. Combat is so well done. Gameplay mechanic, the puzzle, yeah, no, this amazing. All it needed was haptics, and yeah, that's
Damn,
about it.
y'all have no idea how rare that is. Nothing but straight praise for a game from Omar. So I may have to
Yeah,
give it a
it's
shot.
very rare.
That's
Oh
super
man.
rare.
This man usually has about 17 critiques on a game, even if he liked it. I liked it, but it had this with the gameplay, this with the traversal, the combos were messed up, blah 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 blah. But it was a good game though.
You make me sound, if something is good, I'm gonna call it out. If it's bad, I'm gonna call it out. This
Oh,
is
oh,
what it is.
we know, sir.
Okay, so other
Sir.
than that, I'm playing a game called V-Rising. As much as I want to recommend it, it have two gameplay mechanics that
See,
can
there it
turn
is.
people
There it is.
off.
Here we go. We know he couldn't finish, his summary of games without this.
Let
He
me
knew it
Absolutely.
was coming.
explain though. The first one is it have a day and night mechanic, which at night you can fight normal, but during the day, the sun is your worst enemy. If you're not hiding in shadows, you're gonna take burn damage, and that can literally kill you at the end.
Well, you are a
Um,
vampire, right?
you are a vampire,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it doesn't have a story from so far what I've played. It's just you versus the world, essentially, and you don't level up through grinding. XP don't exist in the game. What exists are V-Blood, a unique type of monsters, enemies that first you need to hunt down. When you find them, you beat them, and then you unlock something craftable or new skill or new ability or whatsoever. And what's a cool part about the V-Bloods is either they're free roaming in the area or they're in one place. And they can actually get killed by another V-Blood if they are from a different, like for example, group. Undead and Holy Knight, for example, are be fighting together. A ghost and, for example, a paladin, something like that. It's so cool. I wish it had advantage and disadvantage when it comes to gameplay element. Your skills don't matter. You shoot what you choose. Every skill have a different um, advantage and disadvantage. Other than that, and this is the worst part for me, you're free to build your own castle. It sounds amazing. I really wish it was as amazing as it sounds. Building is such a tedious mechanic. It's also time consuming. And boy, I luckily if you haven't started a private server yet, you can always make sure you get everything quicker or make enemies weaker. They made this game. I'm not sure about PlayStation, but when it comes to PC, they made this game so much um, helpful in sense of a lot of quality of life improvement. That real talk, it's mind-boggling that it's not just in the game. You actually need to look for it and make sure you click on it. Otherwise, if you're on console, you're screwed. But on PC, you can go to the file and add it, which what I did. But I do recommend the game. Like, even with no story, the combat is addictive, the boss fights are addictive, and it got so many biomes. Like, there is I don't want to spoil it. Like you, every single V blood plays different, and there is tons of weapons, tons of crafting. I highly recommend it. Look it up. It just got released to PlayStation. I'm not sure about Xbox, and it's also on Steam. But yeah, that's about it for me.
All right, no doubt. It sounds like you've also been enjoying your time playing some new games.
Oh yeah,
Again, out here completing games. So yeah, it sounds like Psychonauts 2 is something I'll have to play at some point. I'll give it a fair shot at least. Um,
I don't think you would enjoy it. It's a platformer.
I know,
Mm,
but I mean, I hear so many like there's a certain level to things when stuff
Oh, so
is.
I'm not the only one that have what you call it talked about it with so much
No, I mean people
happiness.
talked about it when it originally came out and how good it was, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't trust a lot of these people. So yeah, there's that. So when someone tends to have a more discerning eye about games, then I'll take a look at it a little closer. But
Gotcha.
as for me, uh, I've also gone back to playing Persona 3 Reload. Like Morgan said, after the platinum for Stellar Blade. We're going back to that, and it's been a lot of fun. I mean, I honestly, Persona 3 Reload has been phenomenal. You've got some of the first part of the DLC starting to drop if you've got the expansion. Um, so that's going to be interesting from now until September when the answer finally comes out. So it's been amazing just going back to that game. The fluidity, the graphics, everything, the music. Honestly, Persona is just a whole vibe, a whole experience. If you haven't gotten to it, you got to get on it.
What happened to 100 Heroes? Did you drop it?
How many? You got to remember, like, how many games can I play at once? I'm not dropping it. I just have a lot to play. Like,
Gotcha.
yeah, I gotta juggle. I gotta juggle my time somewhere. So no, I'm not. I'm not dropping it. The only if anything is on pause, it's Final Fantasy Rebirth, which is ironic
Wait, sir,
because
don't you have 100 heroes too?
he does. He does.
Ask
What?
somebody if they dropped it. I said,
I
don't you
haven't
have
touched
100
it
heroes
yet.
too?
I haven't touched it.
So are you not gonna touch it?
No, I absolutely will, but
Oh.
I know for a fact if I'm gonna touch it, I'm gonna only play it and nothing else. Cause
So you
the
don't want to
fanbase.
focus on that right now?
No, I know it's gonna be a monster of a game. 100 heroes. Every hero has so many abilities. Like everything is recruitable. Yeah, no, this game is gonna eat my life. So
Yeah, I
I
give
think
Omar a
after
week.
V-Rising, I might start it.
He'll beat
Or
it in a week.
wait, is it short?
No, I said Omar will beat it in a week, not us.
No, I know you know. Turn based. I go hard on work up
You
to
know the
stuff
game
like
that
that.
we got to get him to play, Nate. That we said we were gonna get him to play.
Shit,
No,
now you
I'm
got
still
me
looking
thinking.
forward. I'm still looking forward to what you call it.
Our game
What's your game?
from last week. The discussion we had.
Um,
Oh man, not an 8 falling
Stellar
blanking
Blade?
out on me right now.
Yeah, I'm
No,
like, we talk about a lot of games recently.
it's an RPG.
RPG. Oh, Monster
A
Hunter.
WRPG. No.
Oh, crap.
A
Then
W?
I
You said a
know.
WRPG?
Yes.
Oh hell yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. There we
Yeah,
go. Okay.
that,
Finally
yeah,
finally
yeah,
clicked for you.
yeah. That's a
What
whole
game?
project. That's a whole project because he be talking the most shit about that game. That's a whole
game?
project.
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, you.
What game? What
Oh,
game?
that's a whole discussion, Omar.
Nah, name it.
might-
I'm curious.
hmm We'll
Fuck
talk
you.
about it later.
Now I'm super
Yeah,
curious.
I see Henry popped up in the chat, man. It's good to see you, bro. He said he's picking up V Rising as well. Which is
Nice,
honestly,
nice.
yeah, that game seems to be a big hit everywhere. Like I said, besides going back for me
Oh, yeah.
to Persona 3 Reload, I've also tried V Rising. I don't dislike it, but I'm also not far enough in it. I feel like it's one of those games where the way the evolution works in the game, I got to really dedicate some time to it. And
Yeah.
when I started it, I was like, I don't want to get too deep, but I did look up some people playing it on Twitch and seeing like people who are a little bit further and how crazy it could get and how many skills. Just seems like a ton of skills, like a whole lot to the game. But it's something, yeah, once you get into it and you want to delve into it and you want to go, 100%, it's something you don't want to pull yourself away from. So yeah, I mean, I liked what I played of the
Ton
game.
of skills and
Yeah.
also tons of weapons.
Yeah, just just a whole sandbox, like to kind of play in
Yeah, it
and
is
just
a
work your way
sandbox.
through.
You named it exactly. It's just without a story.
Yeah,
But
and I think that's
the
what really threw me
gameplay
off.
is so good.
Yeah, the gameplay is really good. I like what I've played of the game so far. Getting back
Also,
into
you can
that,
play
so
it co-op or alone.
yeah,
And
multiple co-op. There's also like an asymmetrical style PvP to it if you turn
yeah,
that on in
there's
your server.
PvP. You can
Personally, I'm
raid.
not doing that. So
Yeah, no, that's a nightmare. I almost dropped the game because of the building aspect. But with the PvP, you literally destroy the other person's castle to steal his loot. Like, nah, I would rage quit if that
yeah,
happened to me.
I don't have that kind of time to be playing Rust the Vampire Edition. But I know a lot of people who enjoy that aspect. So for the people that do, you could keep that on your server.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, I'm still finishing the platinum for Fallout 4. Again, still phenomenal. I did beat the game. Beat the game twice already because you got to get all the endings. So I'm working on the last and final ending as well as the platinum. Again, just game still as phenomenal as ever. So I'm working through that as well. And then I also Streets of Rage, which I beat already when it came out. I own it on Switch, but it also came out on PlayStation Plus. So if I can convince Morgan to play that with me, then I'll probably run that again because it's not a very long game. So yeah, there's that as well. But I see we got Kay back in the chat. So Kay, how are you, ma'am, and what have you been playing?
I'm doing good. I'm still playing Divinity Original Sin 2, but we're at the end of the game. We're getting there.
Mm-hmm.
But I finished the Enotria demo, which made an appearance at the Summer Game Fest the other night. Um, and I was a little bit surprised that they didn't show any gameplay at all for it because they have a whole 8-hour demo out and like they didn't show any gameplay at all, but I finished that demo. And now that I finished that, I've moved on to another Souls like another older one,
Mm-hmm.
the Surge.
Okay. Okay.
You're
Uh,
actually lucky by playing the third, because there are two games for the third.
so you started with the Surge Part 1?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
How you feeling about it so far?
So far I have about 3 hours into it, and I'm really liking it. Compared to the other Souls likes that I've played, it's a slower paced one. So I've had to kind of adjust to that.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, like you have like these like you're wearing like this like suit, and it's heavier, and so you definitely feel your character's heavier, but you know you're supposed to feel that way.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean it feels good, and I'm really enjoying it so far.
That's what's up. Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things about people who tend to like Souls games and experiencing that game. It's one where I was curious, so I did try it at one point. I had access to it on PC or something or both at one point. But yeah, I think the game really looks phenomenal. And if you can really meld with the gameplay, you can get some really cool things to happen in that game. So I always thought it was really dope, especially the aspect that you were talking about being in the suit, the way you can really change up your gameplay depending on the suit that you're wearing. Honestly,
Yeah.
those it's one of the most phenomenal looking games I've ever seen, mechanically, and a lot of other things that are going on with it. That I just, again, I'm just not a Souls person, so I just had to kind of accept that.
Right.
But I've definitely tried to force it once or twice because I was just like, man, I love things that have like mechanical suits and things like that, and I've seen people play it, and just some of the incredible kills and combos and stuff that you can kind of get off, and the different like I said, the different way you can build different suits and literally change the play style 100%. So
Oh
yeah, that's pretty
yeah.
cool. But that's what's up. I'm glad to hear you're enjoying that. And then, you got a surprise right as you came in chat, of course, which of course is the Goat Simulator 3 DLC. So I know we're excited for that.
Oh yes. So yeah, so I like when you told me that, I immediately went and watched the trailer. It's a fantastic. I'm so excited. And then I had to text my brother because my brother and my daughter Audrey, they love Goat Simulator as well. And so I texted him in all caps, Goat Simulator 3 DLC, and he like immediately called me. And Audrey was like screaming in the background, and then and then they went to go watch the trailer, and I had them video call me, and so I actually recorded her reactions, and I'm
Let's
trying to upload it
go.
to the I'm trying to upload it to the chat so you guys can
Yes,
watch
I
her
want to see.
reaction to
I
it.
know she was freaking. That's
Oh
awesome.
yeah,
I
Yeah.
yeah.
really wish
Yeah.
I'd seen a reaction for
Horizon.
The
Yeah, how was her
Horizon
reaction
game,
for
but
Horizon Lego?
also the Astrobot one.
I know. So like, I think they watched the Astrobot trailer before I did, and so yeah, so they didn't record that. And then the Horizon one, I had gone to bed, and they found that out later, so I missed out on those. But I got the jump on them with the Goat Simulator 3 DLC.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice.
That's what's up. You love to hear it. Games for everybody, including the kids. You know, we love the kids. But yeah, I see we also got Nelson in the chat. Welcome, man. And how are you? And what have you been playing, sir?
I've been playing Gran Turismo. I finished Bramble, the Mountain King last week. I don't remember if that was Saturday or Sunday. And Zao, Tales of Kenzera.
Okay,
Oh yeah.
that's what's up. How'd you end up liking Zal?
It's all right. I mean, that whole animated cutscene type thing. It's hard for me to keep track of what's going on or paying that much attention. But I like the platforming and the combat. So
That's what's up.
Facts, man.
Yeah, I heard it was.
it's not a
I
game
heard
of
it
the
was
year or
solid.
nothing, but it's fun and it's only $20. So
Absolutely.
Don't listen to the naysayers.
Yeah, it's important
just
to
don't
keep those
listen to
things in
Omar
mind.
on it in general.
I think that's the general consensus of the show. You know, when people tune in, don't listen to Omar.
Oh man.
Fuck you guys.
Oh man.
Don't listen to me. Don't pick up V-Rising. Don't play Psychonaut 2.
Nah. Omar has some okay takes when he wants to, and then sometimes, you know.
Okay, take. Okay.
Yeah, you know, sometimes he
Okay.
gets a little caught up, you know. But yeah, I mean, obviously everybody's enjoying it. 2024 has been phenomenal. We just had the summer games
dry,
showcase. Yeah, that's what they
phenomenal
tell us.
dry?
That's what they tell us. So the first topic that we wanted to get into is concerning one of the announcements that happened at the Summer Game Showcase. Particularly, we're bringing this up individually because Omar feels some type of way about the announcement for Lego Horizon, which was announced to be coming to PlayStation, Nintendo Switch, and PC on a simultaneous release. Omar would like to discuss how that reflects in a business strategy change for PlayStation and what he thinks that means going forward. So, Omar, go ahead and tell us what your issue is with this. How do you feel about this? What does that make you feel?
Okay. So the first thing first, the disrespect from PlayStation for putting it on Switch but not PlayStation 4.
Okay.
Fuck PlayStation 4. All right. I'm sorry.
I can get that. If it can run on Switch, it can run on PlayStation 4.
That's a disrespect, dude.
It was disrespectful. Is still owning a PS4 and playing on that shit. That's your fault.
That's your first party IP, dude. I'm flabbergasted by this one.
Okay, so you don't like the move.
I don't like the move mostly because if you're a PlayStation 4 owner and can't get the 5, you're actually being punished.
I mean, but you could say the same thing about PS5 only games, though.
True.
Those aren't on Switch though.
If you bought a PS5, then you gotta go get a PS5 game.
But yeah, that's my point. I mean, you could use that same logic and say they're being punished because the game is exclusive only in PS5.
But those aren't on Switch. I think that's his point.
So what if it was this? So let me give you this one, Omar. So what if this stipulation from the Lego company, because you got to remember this is their name on anything with Lego. It has to be done in tandem, a lot like Marvel. You have to go through it, or a lot like the MLB deal. They have stipulations for the games that you create underneath, using the phrasing for the Lego company, right? And then, of course, it is co-created, not completely created by Guerrillas. They were just co-created and assisted with the project in order to bring it to fruition, right? So what if, in this case, PlayStation wanted the definitive edition, 100% available on PS5 in order to push people onto the new platform, as that is going to be their goal going forward underneath the current regime, and that is why they only did this on PS5, offering the best possible version of the game, bar none. How would that make you feel about it? Would that
That would
change
be.
it?
I would still think they should have found a way to put it on PS4. Cause again, you're punishing your older gen people. Like they are so how do I say that? They don't know what they're doing when it comes to shooting what they want to do. They games that should have been next gen only made it cross gen, and games that should be cross gen made it next for PlayStation 5 only, and then put it on Switch. Like that makes no sense for
Wait,
me.
which games are you talking about?
For
I was
example,
wondering that
God of
too.
War, uh, Forbidden West. These games should have been next gen only, yet they made them cross gen. Yet the
They
Lego game,
they were developed mostly
They were
on the
developed for
PS4
PlayStation
though.
4.
Mm-hmm.
They
yeah,
came out like a year after the PS5 came out, so they were being developed most of their years on the PS4 though.
Demon
but,
Souls could have been for
but
PS4. They just
again,
used that as a
answer the
marketing thing to get people on 5.
answer the and clearly they wanted to do something with it, which is why we got the DLC for PlayStation 5 only.
Yeah, I mean
But
they upgraded and they did
yeah,
some new
my
tech.
point is, when it comes to the Lego thing, is one, I only played one or two single Lego games, so I don't know anything about what you call it, deals and stuff like that. What I do know is PlayStation owns the Horizon IP though.
Okay.
It's literally their IP. And I can't for the life of me remember a moment where a Lego game was co-developed by an IP that's being owned by PlayStation or Xbox. So
Yeah, I mean this
I
is definitely a first.
so
No,
this is
I
Or is
mean
it Minecraft?
the Forza Minecraft has also been it, and Forza has also had a Lego as well.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't is it on Xbox? Is it on PlayStation
Yeah.
I mean?
It's
Or
a
Switch?
it's in Horizon itself.
It's a DLC then.
Yeah.
So clearly, it can be done.
I mean, but one of the big complaints that we talked about recently in the show, right, was people complaining about the lack of um, PlayStation moving forward and cutting off the old gen entirely and moving 100% towards PS5. One of your
That's what I'm
biggest
saying.
drivers for that is going to be people's kids and wanting to play this stuff. They're going to move this stuff along at some point. So this game could have just hit the cutoff point.
It's like PlayStation players complain all day long that they want PS4 to be cut off, and when they finally cut them off, they're like, "Oh my God, why would you?
Look,
Why would
Right.
you
I
not?
would look.
Why would
I
you
would
not
have
include the
no what?
PS4
I would
players?"
have agreed with you if it's not on Switch.
Yeah, but
Being on the
again,
Yeah,
Switch
that's
that is
is
kind of a problem because if you want to get a PS5 and you got a PS4 and a Switch at home, you just get it for the kids on the goddamn Switch.
I mean, you could, but the experience though is still going to be different on the system. That's why I was saying they could have just wanted to offer that new or exclusive experience, in the best possible way on the PS5 only going forward. One of your biggest drivers, like I said, is going to be people wanting to have their kids over, and being able to play some of the newest stuff. I mean, perfect example. I mean, Kay has a PlayStation 5 at home. Um, her daughter is already on the PS5. She's not going back. So, I mean, this is the prime opportunity. We're in that transition phase where it's basically you're crossing over the middle of the gen. I mean, it's pretty much time at this point. Like you said, the other games were on the prior
Like
platform.
hardcores have their PS5. It's time to move the casuals.
Yeah, you got to move the rest of the gang. So the perfect
Yeah.
way to do that is to bring these games that appeal to all age groups over. And the stipulation for like I said, the stipulation as far as it being on the Switch, I think is just a factor of Lego understanding how massive that fan base is, and the appeal of that game to them. But obviously it's not going to offer the same experience that you're going to get 4K OLED set up on a PS5. So it's like, yes, it's there. Could it have been on the PS4? Yes, but again, now they're in that transition phase where it's absolutely 100% time to drive traffic to the PS5. And I think that is where like I said, I get the gripe. But again, like Morgan said, people are complaining that they keep making PS4 stuff, and now they're 100% look like they're transitioning to PS5.
Yeah.
With what's left on the table, and now you're going to start to 100% get that. Whether the game looks like it could be on PS4 or not is about to be irrelevant. Now everything is about to go full fledged
Yeah, I think
PS5.
yeah, because Herman specifically said that. It's
If
like
the
they're
Switch 2
moving
is coming out
away.
soon, that might only be for that too. But I don't think that comes out
If
till
it
after it
was
releases.
on
All right,
Switch
hold
2,
on, hold on,
Listen,
hold on, hold on,
they
hold on. If mid-gen is not the cutoff to get away from the PS4, when is the cutoff? Like at the end of the generation, going into the PS6? Like, come on.
Exactly.
I need to explain something because
It's the
I
cutoff.
am not against the cutoff. Heck, I have been wanting for the cutoff to happen.
We
It's
know your
just,
point, Omar. You're talking about because it's on Switch, it could have been on PS4.
yeah,
But that's not the point, though. The point is PlayStation is done with the PS4.
Exactly.
That's what
Yeah,
they're
that's what
saying.
we're saying.
They
Yeah.
are done with it. I understand that because it runs on the Switch, it can also run on the PS4. Obviously, the PS4 is a stronger machine than the Switch. It's obvious it could run on the PS4, but the point that PlayStation is making is they are done with the PS4. It's time to move on. It's been time to move
All
on,
you're
and
getting
they're
is
dropping
indies.
it.
That's it. That's the only thing coming to PS4 still
Yeah,
is fucking
like
indies
the first
and
party
Madden.
is done with PS4. They are done. They're moving on. So that's the point. Yes, it could. Obviously, it's a Lego game. Shoot, Astrobot, like at some point, if they like dumbed it down a little bit, it could probably run on the PS4 too. But the point is, they're moving on from that console,
Mm-hmm.
and people are stuck on it because oh, it's a Switch, and obviously, oh man, Switch is less powerful than the PS4. It can run the same. It can run the game obviously on like yes, but PlayStation's making a statement. They like this is the time for us to move on. And if you want to play the game, either play it on a PC, a PS5, or a Switch. Those are your options. I need
also,
people to
So
stop
honestly,
crying
um,
about the PS4.
whatever can run on this, if anything can run on the Switch, it more than likely can run on the PS3. So where's the PS3 version for Horizon Lego?
Because the thing is, like, it's like PlayStation doesn't consider like they've said it multiple times. They do not consider Nintendo competition. Like they are neutral territory. Okay, Switzerland out here. They do not consider them
They're
competitors.
making
Xbox did the
Zelda
same thing.
with the
They
movies.
they
Sony.
they are cool with giving Nintendo. That's the same reason Xbox was cool with giving Nintendo Ori because they don't really consider them competition. They were like, we're not gonna give it to PlayStation, but we'll give it to Nintendo because y'all, it's fine. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's PlayStation and Xbox do not consider Nintendo competition. Nintendo really doesn't consider themselves competition either. They're in their own lane, and the Switch is like I know it's this underpowered machine, but it's technically in the same generation as the PS5 and the Xbox Series X, which is why it's still being games are still being ported to it. So again, that's why this game is coming to Switch. I mean, it makes sense. It's a Lego game. It'll probably
Yeah, if you're gonna
sell
sell toys, it's
bonkers.
gonna where are all the kids at? Nintendo Switch. That's
Exactly.
where they
It'll
want to sell
probably
their fucking
sell
toys at.
bonkers
And
on the
on
Switch.
PC
And
because most of those adults still play with Legos.
hmm And if you listen to the PlayStation, or the PlayStation uh financial briefing when they broke down their plans for the future, they had like three different categories for games uh that they were planning on, taking on. One was their tentpole, right, which are their hit franchises and the new IPs, the triple A's, and those are from the studios with, like they said, with proven track records, Gorillas, Naughty Dogs, Insomniacs, Santa Monica's, all that. Then they have the other branch was the transformational, and that's the live service games. That's with the ongoing, IP, the ongoing content, the IPs that are like Helldivers 2 that they're going to put on PC day and date. And then the third one, which was the one that this Lego game falls under, is the experimental game. And those are the ones that they plan on using to unlock new audiences and target new genres. And these are the ones they're using to bring new people onto the platform. So just like with Helldivers or Ghost of Tsushima being on PC in hopes to get people to come to PlayStation in order to play the sequel, their hopes with putting the Horizon Legos to get people interested into the Horizon IP and maybe purchase a PS5 in order to play, the actual game that it came from, that it's based on, and their sequels. That's kind of, those are the three branches that PlayStation is focusing on. So Horizon falls into the experimental, which is why they're putting it on Switch, because they're kind of hoping to, let's bring some kind of Nintendo players over here, so that probably won't work because most
Yeah,
Switch
I was
players,
about to say,
they're over
it's
there,
not gonna
but
work.
it's not gonna work in the masses, Omar, but it'll do enough to get a few, because there was plenty of PC dudes arguing that putting PC games on, or PlayStation games on PC, wasn't gonna get people to buy a PS5, and we all know that's wrong, because plenty of PC people have bought PlayStation 5s based on the first IP that came to PC, and they didn't want to miss out
A
on the
guy I
sequel day
worked
one.
with bought a PS5 just so he could play Horizon Forbidden West because
Exactly.
He played Zero Dawn on his PC, and it's one of his top three favorite games of all time. So he
Facts.
bought a PS5.
And like Herman said, he knows they're not going to come over in the masses, but the thing is, it's going to get a
Right.
few people over, and that's what they're hoping to do. And people think, oh, you're not gonna get people to come.
You're
Yes,
not
you
gonna
are.
get 20 million from one game, but if you get a couple 100,000 from each game, that equals up to millions by the end of the gen.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's what they're hoping to do. People doubt it, but it's been working for them. So this is them continuing to do that. Like, people want to get upset that it's on Switch. I honestly don't give a shit. Um, because it's like, it's still not coming to Xbox, and that's the thing that people are really focused on. Like, oh man, they're going full third party. No, no, they're not. Um, it's again, it's being overblown to being some kind of
How is it
huge
overblown?
shift.
So, if over the next few years they start becoming like Xbox, are we gonna revisit this then?
Of course, we would
You mean
revisit
put,
this.
you mean putting games on Xbox?
Or Nintendo, like first party? No experimental kit,
Do you
just
think
full blown
you
first
think this
party.
is a
Yeah, I think this is an experiment to see what the fuss is about with Switch. And especially with the Switch 2, I would not be surprised if more PlayStation games go there.
why do you think this was the game to do that for?
Sorry? It's a Lego
Why do you
game.
believe that
It's
this was the game that they want to do that?
it's it's a Lego game. Kids love Lego. There is
Okay,
zero violence when it comes to what you call it, like
so if
blood,
that's
gore whatsoever that Horizon Zero Dawn has.
okay, and if that's the case, why didn't they do the same thing for Astrobot?
Because Astrobot, I doubt it can run on Switch, real talk.
Omar.
Omar, it could. It could
Should
run at
absolutely
720,
run on the
30.
Switch.
Not the same though.
I
Not
mean,
Well,
it's
the
not.
Lego
It's
ain't
not
gonna
going
run
to
the
run the
same
same
either.
either.
When has that ever
One gonna
stopped
be
anything
4K
from
60
being
and the other gonna
portable?
be like 830.
No, I'm talking gameplay mechanics though. Like Astrobot would need to be removed from the
What
fast
gameplay
loading
mechanics
and
are you talking
everything
about?
like that.
He's talking
The
about
fast loading is that's not gameplay mechanics. That's
he's talking
loading.
about the haptics and stuff for the
No,
controller
I'm not
stuff.
talking about. I'm literally talking about how you go from one area to one area mid
Omar, that's
gameplay.
just loading.
That's just
It's
loading.
not loading. It's not loading when it's literally mid combat. How is it loading when it's literally you have enemy teleporting between two dimensions? How they did with Crack with Ratchet and Clank.
What two dimensions are you talking about?
So wait a minute. So even if your concern is the speed at which the loading takes place, if it was an experiment the way you said, then they would release it on PC day one.
Also, another thing is the fucking downgrade. they would need to downgrade the shit out of the game to be able
Again,
to have
they're
it
gonna
on
downgrade
Switch.
Horizon.
They
So
are
again,
going to. They,
that doesn't disprove my point because they're gonna downgrade Horizon too.
We haven't seen how the Switch version gonna look
you
like.
know how it's
Now,
gonna
now,
look. How all Switch games look. Shit.
now how are you gonna say that it's gonna be downgraded with Astro, but then when I say it's gonna be downgraded with Horizon, now you're saying, oh, we haven't seen it.
Because I didn't say that not gonna be downloaded. I'm just look. I think, and this is just me. I truly believe this is the next vision when it comes to putting the games controlled elsewhere. And it's always experimental. Xbox started it like that. It's just one game
This is
going
not
to
this is
PC.
not a
Wait,
first party game though. This is a Lego
how is
game.
it not? It's
It is
literally
a
a first party
Lego game, my
IP.
guy.
It doesn't. No, it's a first party IP first. Then it's a Lego game.
No,
Like
you that this is what I'm
last
talking about.
time.
This is what I'm talking about where you don't understand the difference. The same way MLB The Show is a first party game, MLB determines where that game goes. That is
Okay.
why
Who?
MLB is everywhere and on Game Pass.
Okay,
Lego
I got
has
you
the
on that
same
end.
thing.
I got you on that end. But who owns the MLB license?
You're talking about MLB. MLB is the
MLB
king. They own it.
MLB owns
The
license.
Major
So
League
not play.
Baseball.
Okay. Guerrilla Games and PlayStation own the Horizon.
They own
IP.
Horizon, but they
Yes,
don't
they
own
own Horizon.
Lego.
Yeah.
It-
Lego. They don't.
They can do whatever they want with Horizon, but if you want to put it in Lego, make it look like Legos, they're gonna sue the fuck out of you.
So-
Yeah, Lego determines
is
that.
So, why is it not on Xbox? Because it should be everywhere.
Should be is not that's irrelevant. It's just not on Xbox.
No. How?
No. Whoa. Hold on. You're misunderstanding. Wait. It doesn't fucking matter about Xbox. You're looking for like this weird loophole. Fuck Xbox. That's not even a factor.
No,
It doesn't have. Wait,
I-
listen. I'm
Don't
explaining.
even factor into sales.
Hold on. Yeah, that is a non-factor. Exactly what Nelson just said. That is a non-factor sales-wise, meaning Lego does not determine it to be worthy or necessary to include Xbox sales-wise because they would be an irrelevant percentage. That is something negotiable on the table. The Switch is 130 million at this point, basically. That is
Switch is
that is
probably gonna be 60 or
non-negotiable.
70% of this total
That
sales,
would
to be honest.
disrespectful as fuck. If
What?
that's
What?
the case.
No, but I'm telling you that's the case. That's how business works.
Would it? Because that's what
So
many
listen.
developers skip Xbox for that very reason.
For that same
Yeah.
reason.
That would be
I mean,
so
look at
disrespectful to
Twitch.
Xbox. It's not
Look,
even
at
funny.
its demographic. It's family friendly. It's the kids, console. So it would be stupid to not put a kids game on the Switch.
Exactly.
Because you're missing out on.
That's the
a
number one audience
wide-
out of all the platforms, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why they're doing it. That's what we're explaining
About
to
make
you.
stupid bank.
Yeah, they about to make
No,
crazy
I
money.
do believe that PlayStation is
So I'll give you this. If we see that going forward with actual first party only games, then we'll revisit that discussion. But right now,
What I'm trying to think is like, you think they're gonna put like Ghost on the Switch, or like what games do you see going on the Switch in the future, Omar?
or the Switch 2.
Doom.
The Switch 2, I can see Ratchet.
Okay, so when that happens, we'll have that
Wait,
conversation.
hold up. Now, you just made a whole discussion about how the Switch couldn't handle it because of loading and SSD.
No,
but if
I
the-
literally said the Switch 2 though.
the Switch 2 isn't gonna have an SSD though.
Oh,
If it's gonna be
never
like
mind
running like a PS4 or PS4 Pro, it's not gonna be. It's still gonna like I mean, is there
that. On
a
the
reason
power,
it's gonna
never
have
mind.
the SSD?
Never mind. It's Nintendo. They're
It'll
gonna be
most likely
one-
have a mini SSD, but again, speed is also a
one or
factor
two-
and a bunch of
one
other
or
stuff.
two
It's
years
not.
behind.
Yeah,
Never mind.
it's not going to
Yeah,
be a
that's why-
Gen 4
That's why
SSD.
I'm trying to figure out. I see what you're trying to say, but I'm trying to figure out what games PlayStation would put on the Switch that anybody would be interested in.
Again, who knew about
Lego
Horizon?
God of War.
When
Like, yeah, if they're doing like if they keep partnering with Lego and putting, I know you were joking, but if they do partner with Lego with other IPs, I could see them doing more of those games on Switch. But like other than
Agreed.
that, I don't see them putting like the next Ghost or the next Last of Us or whatever other IP that they have. I don't see that coming to Switch. Like
Yeah.
for what that audience one doesn't give a crap about those games. If they did, they'd have a PlayStation.
okay, it makes a question.
Yeah,
I think it,
the most you may either get besides that is maybe one of their gas games if it's more kiddie. Like,
Cause like we all see like with a recent example of Mortal Kombat 3, how that shit
oh
looks
god, that looked
oh,
on
terrible.
fucking
oh, that
Switch.
they
So I'm
actually
trying
bought
to
the
see.
studio, right? For it, if I'm correct.
You said what?
They bought the studio that made that
Nintendo?
one. I think. I
You mean
think
that made
I
the
read it.
port?
Yeah, I think they bought the studio. Yeah.
I don't know, that would be weird because that
Oh,
port is
They,
terrible. But
they made the studio that ported Hogwarts.
Yeah. Yeah. To yeah.
But
yeah, they
yeah, we
bought that
see
studio.
how ass Mortal Kombat looks on that Switch. Okay, so I'm trying to
Man.
figure out what PlayStation game they're gonna put on there that's gonna look good on that thing. Like none of them. That's why they'd have to kit it down to like a Lego in order for it to be enjoyable and playable on the Switch. But
Yep.
like you said, if it happens, we can revisit it. But I just don't see it happening. Like
Yeah,
it
I don't
makes
see that
sense with
happening.
a Lego game, but I just do not see that happening
If
with
you get a
like
kid
the
on
whole.
Switch interested in Horizon 2 and you can get them to play the main thing and play it for, they want to get a PlayStation instead of a PC.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, you're gonna.
That's a big thing.
I think people
Because you want to get them once they turn like
underestimate that.
14, and they make that decision. If they get a PC, they're probably not gonna ever get a console.
Well, that's a
More than
big
likely.
that's a big decision that's happening now for my nieces and nephews, where they have a PS5, they have two PS4s, and my second oldest niece just got a PC. Because she's gonna have a job this summer, so she's gonna work and pay it off and stuff and deal with her PC. So you've got the back and forth between the two of them, but it's a constant battle when their first question to me all the time when contemplating PC, because obviously I'm a big PC gamer and they get to come over and play those all the time, is what do I play, what can I play, and what do I lose and what do I gain game wise on these systems, right?
They're smart for this question.
You said the what?
They are smart by asking this question.
Well, yeah, they're my nieces and nephews, so they know that they know the truth. So I expose them to all kinds of games. My niece she's a big Last of Us fan. She's also been into Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which I introduced her to. She's a big fan of a lot of these games. She recently talked to Morgan and was talking about her excitement for Plague's Tale. So,
Okay.
stuff like that. So, again, she's experiencing the difference between the two. Most likely, she'll end up more like me, playing both PlayStation and PC. But this is a perfect example of what happens when, like he was saying, they get into that transitional stage. My niece is 15. So, she's in that stage where she's making her own decisions. She's about to start working, for a summer job and stuff like that. So, now she's going to have her own income. And she's seeing the difference in, like, do I just want a PC or do I want both, right? And this is where I keep telling people there's this big crossover between PC and PlayStation. And if PlayStation was day and date, my niece wouldn't think. My niece has zero investment, in PlayStation as far as like a massive library. She does have games that she loves on it, but if they ever put those games day and date, she knows her PC is good to go, and she knows that we could upgrade it, and going forward she could just play on PC. That's what PlayStation wants to avoid going forward. But like we were saying, like with some of the stuff with like Lego and some of the gas games, you definitely want to maximize your audience, but everything else you want to drive that traffic towards the PlayStation 5 console. And I think they're going to continue to do so because, again, that is the same question that's happening from my nephew, who's a little bit younger than she is. My oldest nephew now, they're still fighting over the PS5. Make no mistake, they all still love that thing, and most likely they're going to get a second PS5 from their grandmother. To basically get everybody updated and so on and so forth. But she's not considering another PC because that is a much bigger investment. And the kids could obviously share their library and a bunch of other stuff. There's a lot of benefit happening there that is making them still lean towards PlayStation 5, and PlayStation themselves want to make sure to continue to give people that massive lean in towards wanting to continue to go to PlayStation 5 and lean into it even further, and that's what they're going to do with all this future content that's going to come. So I think that's what you're going to see with this stuff going forward.
Yeah, PlayStation's pretty much made it clear that their strategy is still to get people to buy PlayStations. That's still their main selling point. They still care about the console. They reiterated that multiple times, and that the use of games or the release of games on other platforms is meant to bring more people into the PlayStation ecosystem. Um, until like it's shown otherwise, I'm gonna take them for what they say. Herman's been very consistent in saying that this is like the second or third time he said that the tentpole IPs that PlayStation's known for are going to be day and date exclusive on PlayStation 5. So far, we have not seen anything to say that's wrong. Like Death Stranding's been said be PS5 exclusive. Astrobot's PS5 exclusive. I'm guessing Wolverine's going to be PS5 exclusive. Ghost 2 is probably going to be, probably it's going to be PS5 exclusive. The big games are still going to be only available on PlayStation. They're trying out experimental games, smaller games, or live service games. Obviously they make sense to put them on the most platforms you can to get the biggest audience you can.
I'm
And
surprised
even
that
with the success of these games like Helldivers and
Mm-hmm.
how well things like Ghost 2 or God of War sells on PC, even with those numbers, and PlayStation obviously has those numbers and they know, even with the success, and you saw everybody on Twitter just screaming, "Oh man, PlayStation's gonna do day and date now. You see the sales, they're so great. It's coming, it's coming." And right after, even with them announcing Helldivers 2 sold 12 million or whatever it was in 3 days or 3 months or whatever, they were like, we're still gonna be PlayStation exclusive. I need people just to calm down and realize PlayStation is fully aware of how important it is to keep their big games exclusive day and date on their PS5, because that's what they want to sell. They want to keep the consoles. PlayStation's main revenue stream right now is, one, their IPs, and two, PS Plus. And you can't get PS Plus anywhere but besides the console. So if they were to do something like put games day and date on their big games day and date on a PC or a Switch, that incentivizes obviously people to not buy the console, which then would mess up their biggest revenue stream of PS Plus. And they're already losing, potentially going to be losing one of their biggest money revenues, which was Call of Duty. Now that Microsoft owns it, they got the 10-year deal, but who knows what happens after that. So it's just, PlayStation's playing it close to the chest when it comes to their revenue, and they don't want to mess up the streams that they have. So
If
I think
someone
we
like
just have
me
to.
leaves and goes to PC, instead of getting $1,500 in revenue, they're gonna get like 100.
Exactly. They realize, they want that 100% that people invest when they buy something on in the PlayStation store, instead of that, 70% they would get if somebody bought it on a Switch or bought it on a
I
PC
buy
or
two first
whatever.
party games a year, or I buy 45 games a year, and you get all that plus the accessories
Exactly.
and the console and the fucking subscriptions and the everything. I buy something
Exactly.
goddamn near every week. You get only
Facts.
like 2 of those purchases out of like 70 purchases a year.
Exactly. This PlayStation's, they're still focusing on the core consumer, and they're still focusing on making sure the PS5 is taken care of, and they're getting their tentpole IPs first and foremost. So, I'm not worried about a Horizon Lego going to Switch like day one. That's like I saw that and I was like, okay, that makes sense. Like it didn't bother me at all. I was just like, okay, more people. Hopefully, it'll bring more people to realize how cool Horizon is, and because a lot of people like to listen to Twitter rhetoric. And if Twitter says something is bad or says something is corny, then they all
A
just roll with
10-year-old
that
kid who
shit.
plays Horizon now, by the time the next one comes out, they're looking like, I want to play 3. Well, where can I play 3? On a motherfucking
Exactly.
PS5.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So they'll give Horizon a chance to learn, like, oh shit, this actually is a cool IP, or this actually is fun. Maybe I'll play the actual, the game instead of, writing it off because somebody on Twitter said it was lame. You know, so I'm all cool with people getting a chance to play Horizon and see how cool it is and see how cool that world could be. It looks really fun. I mean, obviously it's Lego, so it looks like it's gonna be a good time, and it's co-op, so more the merrier. Sounds like it's gonna be a good time to me, and it's coming out this year, which is crazy. Um, yeah, that's PlayStation. They said PlayStation's the end of the year, the latter half of the year was going to be dry, and it's so funny because it's now we have
It's
two
not now.
games
We have
exactly.
Astrobot and we have
Horizon, hmm
Horizon
Horizon.
and Concord.
And Concord. I forgot about Concord. 3 games that are coming out for PlayStation in the latter half.
There's a
They were.
reason you forgot
And
about
Wukong timed
Concord.
exclusive.
You're right. You're right. I am gonna try it
Oh
out
yeah.
though
And
when they do Oh yeah, Wukong now that's being a timed exclusive.
I mean, hey, we gotta keep it a buck. If it's
Shout
a
out to Series
time
S for
exclusive, then
providing
it's
more
time
third-party
exclusive.
exclusives than Sony does.
Yo, I'm just saying, yo, that shit's crazy.
You know what?
Like,
I'm actually glad because I know a lot of us were concerned that the S was going to hold back everybody else, right? So it's actually like it's really good. It makes me happy to see devs say, you know what? No, we're not going to hold
I
everything
bet you there's a
back.
lot of them that aren't brave enough to say that either. There's probably hundreds of
I
them that have been
think
bitching about this for
after
ages.
I think after Baldur's Gate 3, especially with the accolades that it's gotten and game quality and stuff like that, more devs are now coming out and it just say they Series S was a mistake.
yeah, I
And
mean,
they're not saying it with words, they're saying it with action. Do you have like a new IP looking
Do you see
impressive?
what Kingdom Come Deliverance said? I had 5 different devs tell me the biggest obstacle about the Series S isn't even the GPU, it's the motherfucking RAM. We always need more RAM when
It's
designing a game. Always need
oh
more
yeah, I
RAM. Can't
forgot
have
about
it's
enough.
Kingdom Come
crazy
Deliverance.
that
And, they came out
nobody
and
is
said it.
only now they're talking about it. Like where was that energy beforehand?
I mean, we
I
told
I
we
mean,
told people infinite scalability was not a thing. Like, I don't know why people thought that was a thing. Like,
no, you push a button and you can make it work. All you gotta do is lower the graphic settings, and you can just put a game on any
Not when you're
system.
doing
That's how it
design
works.
though. You can lower graphics, but you got to
That's all you gotta
design
do. You just
around
gotta
what
all you
you
gotta do is
got
push a
to
button,
work
Justin.
with. Yeah, I
You just
know.
push you just
They really thought that.
you just push a button and everything lowers and then it just runs. That's how it works.
GTA 6 is gonna run on my motherfucking cell phone from 5 years ago. Zip
Mhm.
zip.
Facts.
Just scale it down.
That's all you gotta do. I mean, even I still remember that interview with IGN that they had with Remedy when they were talking about Control and doing the Control Ultimate Edition for Series S, and he made this like the developer when IGN asked him about the Series S, he just let out the biggest sigh. He was like, "Yeah." It was just like people think, like I said, people think it's just like a button switch and you can just make it work, and that's not how it works, man. Like it's not as scalable as people make it seem, or say that it is. It takes a lot of work, and the Series S, it's a cool machine and
Series S
everything,
has less
but
RAM than my One X does. That's the last gen shit.
yeah, they was like it's cool and everything, but it's just you know he didn't want to say it, but he was just like the Series S ain't it. But a lot of developers have come out, and I get the concept of it. I think it's cool that they wanted to offer
It's good in
something on the.
theory.
Exactly. It's a good in theory. They want to offer a lower scale budget console for people who don't want to invest a lot of money into console gaming but still want to be a part of next gen.
That's why
Cool. Like,
games go around Switch and they try to figure it out. If they can figure it out, they'll put it on Switch. If they can't, they can't. But they're not going to
yeah,
design around it. They're just not.
yeah.
Right.
And it's like you said, it's cool in theory, like great in theory, awesome. But when it comes to practice and these devs,
Practice is a different conversation, eh?
yeah, and people want to say that, oh, it's devs making excuses. Like, I literally saw a tweet where somebody was saying, and that they weren't even lying. They weren't even like, you know, they were
Joking.
being so, yeah, they weren't joking. They were being so serious that they thought that this was an excuse and that PlayStation was paying the Wukong developers to say that, oh, it's a Series X or it's an Xbox quality issue,
That's
and
it.
that like it was a secret money hatting scheme going on.
Oh
It was
no.
like
Oh
I was
wait,
like, oh,
is
he's
that
serious.
person Ryan McAfee? I had to go there.
Absolutely.
No, that's funny. That's hilarious though. He did say that. He thought Sony was money hatting just to immediately
They
retract
said
that
that
statement.
they said that with Baldur's Gate
Yeah, I
3.
posted it under there. He deleted that shit quick, right in a hurry.
I'm like,
They
bro, you
said
are a journalist.
they said that with Baldur's Gate 3 that PlayStation and money.
Yeah, they
I
rushed to
said
judgment and immediately want to make PlayStation the
it's
boogeyman
super
every
easy
single
to
time.
blame PlayStation.
And it's like, but when they find out the truth of the reason as to why, and that it's an Xbox situation, they don't want to turn around and demand better from Xbox. They just get
Yeah.
quiet. I'm like, oh, so you had all that smoke when you thought it was PlayStation, but then you figure out who to blame is, and now you don't want to say anything. Like,
You're quiet all of a sudden.
keep that energy.
They
Save
think
energy for
every
Xbox.
game that doesn't come to Xbox, it comes to PlayStation or Switch, but it avoids Xbox is a timed exclusive deal or something. And 90% of them are not. They just don't want to waste their time on your bullshit.
Has got your tongue?
Yeah, I mean it's
irony.
yeah, it's
The
I mean,
juice
it's
isn't
a
worth
big
the
issue.
squeeze.
Facts.
Yeah, I mean, the conversation's been happening for so long now. Like, it keeps coming up and it keeps coming up. And, I mean, the reality is where there's smoke, there's fire. It's no longer smoke at this point. It's obviously a raging fire.
Yeah.
Xbox is doing their best to keep it under wraps and to keep people kind of hushed about the difficulties of developing for the Series S. But obviously, we've now seen so many representations of why this was such a big mistake. And, there's a reason why I always tell people there is a bottom line to stuff where eventually you have to cut things off, right? The perfect example of this came even before this generation even started when Destiny 2 was coming out and they made the decision to go full next gen, which at that time was PlayStation 4. And the reason was because the bottom line of what they wanted, Destiny 2 to be presented as was no longer capable of being shown on the prior gen. So they made the decision to cut it off. And I mean, that's going to be the same thing this generation. But what's happening is you're having a split in the current generation because the hardware they came out with that is lesser is causing an issue because that's never happened before. And the reason it never happened before is it precisely what's happening right now. You have this gap that's going to do nothing but widen as time goes on, and people implement more complex mechanics, physics, and all these other different things, and you're going to constantly have to just cut back more and more because everybody's designing for the lead platform, which is obviously going to be PlayStation 5 on when we're talking about the current high fidelity market, and the Series X, and the S is going to fall short constantly. And it's like people are just going to get more and more frustrated. You're going to have to cut more and more features. And eventually you're going to get to the point where something is either flat out not going to run and they're ultimately just not going to put it on there. Or, they're going to have to make a decision
You'll get
to
it
make
when
it
they can
Series
figure
X
it
only.
out.
Yeah, exactly.
The
Which is
bubble
happening now.
The bubble is bursting.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Think
happening.
about it. As the generation goes on, like that. With PC, you can bump up minimum specs, recommended specs. When you make a console, if that fucking console generation lasts 10 years, you gotta fucking make it on that lowest SKU for that fucking entire generation.
Exactly.
I feel like
Like
that's
you
why
stuck
kind
with
of
that.
Yeah.
Xbox is speeding up this generation.
Oh,
They're like, all
absolutely.
right,
Yeah, they're
let's
like
hurry
it's
this
over
up.
next year.
You know, and
Do you think Xbox will drop either parity or just the S next gen?
No, they can.
there's not gonna be
Um,
no XS next gen.
especially it,
Yeah,
no,
they're not. There's not. They're done.
especially with this rumored handout. I don't think they're gonna drop anything.
I think they're just gonna have their name on generic fucking third party other
I'm
platforms
interested to see what this
as
next
an
console
option as a
is because
storefront.
apparently it's gonna be a damn, Megazoid because it can do every damn thing that has ever been invented. It's a handheld. It's a console. It can fly. I'm just like, where are all these rumors coming from that this shit can do like 17 million different things? I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm just gonna wait for the official Xbox announcement because these motherfuckers, you leave it up to them and they gonna tell you it can do everything and walk your dog at the same time.
Hmm.
But it's like I said, people want to shit on Jim Ryan, but I mean, he was the main one when they were asking if they were gonna do a low skew PS5. He was like, we've seen in the past that those don't work. Like doing a lower spec console doesn't work. And people were so mad when he said that. They're, oh man, he just being greedy. He just want that full
Uh-huh.
500. And I'm like, oh, okay. Now where are we now? Because I've seen a lot of Xbox fans who at first were very anti people saying or talking shit about the S, but now most of them are like, you know what? The Series S was a mistake. I'm just
Hmm.
like, yes,
No,
we told y'all that shit from day one. And
no,
it's
the
just
Series S is more powerful than the
They
PS5
don't want to
though.
believe.
you remember those fucking
Oh,
rumors.
I
Oh, the
remember that.
Series
Tom
S is
Warren,
so
where you at,
powerful.
Tom?
It's so, oh my god, it's got a better GPU. And I'm like, oh yeah, that point one is gonna make that difference. It's
No, it's
gonna
got a better CPU. It's gonna run games
yeah,
at a
oh yeah,
better
yeah.
FPS
Yeah.
than
Yeah, the
PlayStation 5.
CPU.
The CPU.
Motherfucker.
And they were like, yeah, the PS5 and the Series S were gonna be the same, but the Xbox was gonna be like the Pro. Like it was gonna be the one that was better than both of them. I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna let y'all keep talking because I already knew that was gonna immediately hit everybody in the face when they were saying that BS. But it's just, you know, like they want to blame the devs now. That's what's really
I
making me
mean,
mad.
they are
And now
blaming
devs
the
are just
devs.
lazy.
Yeah,
Like,
the
what the
devs are
fuck?
lazy. But look at Xbox Studios. Look at this studio or that studio. I'm like,
Like your
at
own
one,
studios are making 30 FPS games on your Series X, bitch. They're the only ones doing it too. Fuck you
and
mean?
it's like they think every studio, even not even like besides that, it's like they think every studio is the same. Like every studio is built the same. Every studio has the same number of developers. Every studio has the same resources. They all use the same engine. They all have the same capabilities. Like you cannot be mad at because a lot of the times the games that are having these troubles are the smaller studios, like the people that make Baldur's Gate, the people that make Wukong. These are like independent studios who don't have the hundreds of developers and big publishers like a Ubisoft or an Activision, who have the resources to be able to work on a series at the same time, and so it can get it out at the same time as everybody else. Like these are smaller developers who can only do so much. So when they have to work on two SKUs for Xbox and
You
one of
gotta
those
pare
SKUs is
all the way down
lower.
that shit. Like, man, we gotta really tank
Exactly.
this bitch
They
down to get
don't
this shit to work.
have the time and the resources to get it out at the same time. That's why Baldur's Gate had to, release at a later time on the Series X and S, and now why this game has to release. And we've seen like multiple other games have to also delay their Series X and S um ports because it's too much for them to work on at the same time. You can't expect big developers and smaller developers to be able to work on these consoles the same way, which is why a lot of them will just choose PlayStation. One, because there's only one SKU. Two, because they have the most gamers, right? The most consoles out there, so it makes sense. That's the player base you hit first. And so you basically you put yourself in a predicament because like on the opposite spectrum, you are the console with the least amount of gamers, and you add an extra strain of a lower SKU console on top of that. And it's just like, well, okay, well, damn, why would I choose you? You're making me work twice as hard for a smaller fan base. Like, I don't. What's the point? Like, why am I doing this? Like,
Exactly.
so it's just like lose lose. Like, so I can guarantee you, next gen, whatever the hell Xbox decides to do, they're not gonna have a low SKU console. They're gonna have just one. Like, whatever it is, it's gonna be one. Because I feel like they've learned from the mistake of the Series S. And the sad thing is, the Series S is their best-selling console as far as this generation. Like, there's
So it's
more
not like they
Series
can
S's out
abandon
there.
it.
Exactly.
Is it confirmed or is it a rumor?
No,
Yeah,
it's
Three-quarters
confirmed.
of those 20,
It's been confirmed.
25 million. There's only like 10 million on fucking Series X.
Yeah, it's been confirmed that the
Goddamn.
Series S is more than the X, which makes sense
The,
because it's
the,
cheaper
the,
of the
next,
version.
the next Xbox is going to be called Xbox Nimbus because it's all going to be in the clouds.
Not Nimbus.
Flying Nimbus.
Yeah, cloud power, handheld, multi-console, Steam included.
Goku's
I'm
gonna
like,
be
oh, damn.
the fucking mascot.
I'm like,
So
this man,
let's
this shit can be whatever.
let's combine, not combine. Let's name every single information we now have about the series. No, about Xbox holding gaming back. We have the developer for Kingdom
Baldur's
Come
Gate.
Deliverance 2.
Yeah.
They said that they had to cut their game shorter than they wanted because of Series S. We have now a developer, I think Valorant. They have something for PS5 hooked up to the controller.
It was gyro. They decided not to include gyro in Valorant because Xbox didn't have it. So
Yeah. And now we have Wukong, some Wukong. And before we
Baldur's
had
Gate.
Yeah, Baldur's
Baldur's
Gate had to
Gate
cut
3.
co-op.
And
there
now,
was that. What was that other? There was the that other game. Wasn't it a Souls game or something, like a smaller Souls game or Souls like?
oh yeah, that's
that-
an indie game.
Yeah, the indie game that had to delay or cancel the Xbox version. I can't remember. I can't remember the name of it though.
But there's
But
been
yeah,
there's
me
the,
been
the
neither.
fact
quite
that
a
there's
few.
been so many, like it's not
Yeah.
just that. There's tons of that. There's like you said, other indie devs and so on and so forth. And then besides just the Series S in itself, again, the big factor when people constantly say, because this is another annoying trait that a lot of people who claim they want to stay in their lane and they just want to play games and they don't care about market share and all this other stuff, every time it's brought up and it becomes a factor for a game coming to PlayStation and not Xbox, then they're interested all of a sudden. Then they're mad or they're
Money
upset.
hating it.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
money hatting it. You know,
That indie game, that I can't even remember the name of.
it wasn't
Most of
too
them
long
have
ago.
Never heard of that game.
Mhm.
Yeah, they had never heard of that game. They had no plans on playing that game.
Yeah,
But then
okay.
they were all mad and throwing up pitchforks and all kinds of stuff saying,
I-
"Oh, you lying," and
I agree with that. Like that, an indie game is no issue, but a game like
No.
some-
Wait. It is because it was a budget issue.
Let
So
me
it is.
explain though. A game like some Wukong's Black Myth, this is an issue. Now you're actively missing out on a game for a period of time because of Xbox lack of what we call it, planning. Like, if that not atrocious, if that not make you question Xbox vision, I don't know.
Yeah, but that's what I'm
Well-
saying. That's the problem is multifaceted though. This is the thing that people don't get. On one hand, you've got the Series X holding stuff back or getting cut because devs don't want to work on it, or they can't make their game work, or cutting feature parity. Right. On the other hand, the issue with them not selling enough, or them not selling enough, or
There's
them
just
not
no reason
purchasing
of
enough.
any reason to put their shit on Xbox.
Yeah, you're talking
Even
about
Call
you're
of Duty
talking
was gonna-
about
Xbox, that's the best-selling game on Xbox year over year, and they were gonna before they bought them.
Yeah, I mean the
fuck that tell
issue
you?
the issue is the sales wise, right? Like if you're limited, right, in your overhead and what your funding is when you're putting out a game, you're going to prioritize the consoles and the fan base that it's going to sell on most if you have it limited. Again, people keep thinking because places like, bigger publishers like Capcom or Sega keep eating the cost of developing their games multi-platform on some of their projects, that every developer can afford to do that, and they can't. Like if you're not going to break even on a project, why am I even going to bother? That is a whole nother issue. That's why people keep saying, oh, it doesn't matter. Xbox doesn't care where you play the games and this and that. Yeah, but y'all do, because y'all keep bitching every time a game or a developer comes out and tells y'all, we're not putting it on there because, we have a limited budget, limited devs, and, it's not going to be worth it initially for us to put it on the Xbox. So we may consider it later, this and that. Yeah, it's irrelevant to Microsoft's first party because they are putting their games everywhere, but again, the devs don't see a reason to put it on their own platform, on Xbox in particular, because sales wise they're not going to get anything going. And a couple devs, again, this was something else that we discussed, and I remember me and Morgan particularly talking about this in detail, where a dev was saying, basically, if you're not inside the ecosystem, as far as Game Pass, then for a lot of them it's just not worth it. And those deals have dried up, because that was the other thing. Why not just people, you had the Twitter armchair devs, why not just take the money and go on Game Pass? Like they were just offering it for free. You know what I mean? Like they were just handing it out. And it's like, no, you gotta negotiate. You gotta have that offer in the first place. And a lot of them are just not getting those deals anymore. They're cutting that short. They spent $100 billion, ultimately acquiring all this stuff. And now they're making cuts all over the place. And Game Pass is, in the same vein as those cuts. They're going to not offer a lot of these, devs the same deals and stuff that were going on in the beginning. And it's like, this is why we keep telling them all these things are a factor. And what's happening is, what you're seeing is all this stuff is compiling on top of each other. The Series S, the lack of market share, the lack of sales, which is, like I said, another big factor. Which, like I said, people don't want to see. I hope we get the sales splits for some of these games, because then people will actually see the issue firsthand. And that's really been the thing that's kind of kept them in the dark, is that, either, Sega and so on and so forth is not showing the sales splits, for some of their titles like Infinite Wealth. But the reality is, Atlas themselves has cited, their continued support for PC being cited to strong sales. And obviously everybody knows the number one sales for stuff like Atlas games and a number of these other places is PlayStation. Like, it's just what it is. And it's like, when you have all these compiled issues, as well as this extremely weak hardware holding things back, people are just going to cut it off. It's you're going to cut your losses. That's how business and basic economics works. Like, I mean, if I was making a game right now and I was going to be multi-platform, depending on if it was a higher fidelity graphical game, PC and PlayStation, and that's it. I'm not wasting my time. Xbox, I'm sorry, I'm just not wasting my time.
The most work and the lowest return.
This man are casually dropping Infinite Wealth. Check if I'm still awake.
Nah, man. I got you. But again, it's a big thing, right? Infinite Wealth was a huge pivot, right? Because that was the first game that they finally stopped giving them freebies on Game Pass. And it was the fastest selling, Yakuza game, as far as like speed to 1 million. But it's like, where did those sales take place? That's the real question. It's
because a lot more people have become familiar with Yakuza over the years. Even towards before it came over to Xbox, it was starting to hit. Especially, I think Yakuza 0 is where they started picking up more traction with every game.
Yeah, tons of people.
That's what they said. They dropped the man who erased his name on Game Pass, but that is because they want to get traction, so that they're gonna buy the main title. Like they told you, we're not gonna drop Infinite Wealth day and date in Game Pass.
Exactly.
It's crazy that whatchamacallit happened. We Xbox is so far behind the aimball, it's not even funny. And sadly, PlayStation haven't found a way to capitalize on this. It's actually the opposite. PlayStation knows so many IPs, it's not even funny. Like between Yakuza, between Persona, between now Final Fantasy and now Octopath, it's like what's PlayStation vision then? Do they not
What's
want?
gonna happen when those sales they put it on Game Pass and those Game Pass sales are those Game Pass deals are dried up now? What's their incentive to
But
bring it over to Xbox now?
they just dropped Octopath 1 and 2 in Game Pass. Like that, it's not
Well, no.
the
I
Those are
no.
same.
That's
tiny.
Square
Those are
though.
yeah. Those are smaller games, so
Yeah,
I guarantee you.
that they didn't have to pay
Sorry.
much for that. No, you're good.
Yeah, those are smaller titles that only sold that even though they're really good, they really only sold a few million. So I don't think they really had a problem putting those games in Game Pass. Uh, but the thing is, PlayStation didn't lose those IPs. Those IPs are still on PlayStation. They might have lost the exclusive rights to it, but the
They,
thing is,
but
they're still being sold mostly on PlayStation. Like regardless of them being on multiple platforms, the majority of people are still buying or playing those games on PlayStation. I mean, I went last night to after Nate told me that the Metaphor collection editions were sold out. I went and looked at Best Buy, Amazon. They're all sold out for PlayStation. Guess which version of the collector's edition has plenty left? Xbox. Okay?
Everywhere.
wait,
Like
you didn't get Metaphor physical? I
No,
thought you
she
no,
got
no
I'm
no
it.
no. She was saying she went to look at the collector's editions to see
Hmm.
where they were. She checked GameStop. She checked Best Buy, Amazon, Walmart, everywhere, and saying the only one that's
all the
sold out.
PS5 versions are sold out.
Exactly.
Xbox has plenty left. No, I can buy it from any store I choose. There's plenty of Xbox versions of that game. That's my point. PlayStation is still going to be the main place where people play and buy these games. Like people, and this is a game that's not even in Game Pass. Game Pass isn't even an excuse for Metaphor. Like, oh well, they're not buying the collector's version because they can play it in Game Pass. No, Metaphor isn't in Game Pass. So
We don't know if it's gonna be in Game Pass or not. It's
No, it's
gonna be
not.
interesting.
As of right now, it's not.
As of right now, yeah, it's not.
sure, but I don't. I mean, they've shown it like 5 times already, and with no mention of Game Pass. I feel like if this was coming to Game Pass, they would have said it already.
Or it
Um,
could be a last minute deal. We will see. It's gonna be interesting.
yeah,
Well,
I don't think so.
I know games
Especially
that
with
don't
them missing.
even.
But
Omar, I know games that don't even have a release date yet and say that they're going to be on Game Pass day one.
Yeah, I'm just like I don't
like,
see this. This is a big game for Atlas. I don't see them last minute saying, "Oh, Game Pass." Like I don't see that
Yeah, I don't see that
happening.
happening. Also because Infinite Wealth wasn't either. And to Wara's point, yeah, I agree. When it's on Game Pass, that doesn't tell the story. But that's why I mentioned I want to see the sales splits for Infinite Wealth, which is not on Game Pass, and the upcoming Metaphor, which again is the first game from Atlas that is not going to be on Game Pass. That is what tells the story to me, because
Hmm.
Sega claims that all these freebies, all these put it on Game Pass, like we was saying, was to drum up all this fan base, and welcome the Xbox fan base, and see if they really have an uptake in sales and the fandom on the Xbox. And now I want to see, Nelson said, is the juice worth the squeeze? Like let me see the results of all this marketing, of all these games that they have access to, because that's all I hear about on Twitter is like, I have access to all these games and this, that, and the third. And I always tell people, access does not mean you are playing these games. That access has nothing to do with that. I got access to 10,000 games, 20,000 games if I want. I got access to any game on this planet that I want that is readily available. I got access to games that ain't even available in the United States. I got access to literally everything, but I can't play all those
People
games and
always
I'm
talk
not
about
playing
how many
those
players
games.
tried it too. It's like, okay, almost every free-to-play game I've at least clicked on and downloaded, I was in that bitch for 7 minutes and got off. Does that mean I'm going to be a customer? You know what I mean? They're looking at that shit like, oh, most of our people logged in for 9 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
You
And
know what I mean?
but no, I agree with. No, I was saying the counterpoint were to what I was saying. Not that you were arguing against it, but I was saying I do agree that it doesn't tell the full story if the game is on Game Pass. But that's why we're excited to see Infinite Wealth and Metaphor, because these are the games that are not, that are coming from, because these are the things that are being stated on Twitter by fans from the Xbox fan base that are saying, well, the reason why Square games don't sell like that on Xbox is because they haven't given us the games, and they don't build a fan base, and they keep shouting out Sega, shout out to Sega for this, that, and the third. And it's like, okay, so Sega's been doing all this, this Game Pass work. Let's see the results. Now I want to see. So it should be selling like hotcakes. You know what I'm saying? They like, I would accept 2 million. Just 2 million. I ain't even asking for nothing crazy.
For a fact you're not getting that. Come on.
Yeah, 2 million sales. Like, that ain't even crazy to me. Like, so because people are stating if you release multi-platform, you should be blowing exclusives out of the water. Like, that's what's being stated by these people. So I'm like, okay, so they're doing all this work, spending all this money, all this overhead, and all this development time to bring these games over to Xbox now and building this fan base. Like, where are we at now? What has been the
Resident Evil
results?
sells 5 million copies in its first 18 months. Oh, what a success! God of War sells 11 million copies in 2 months only on PlayStation. What a fucking failure! Like, what?
Yeah, bro. There's 50 million.
Yeah.
That's so bad. I'm like, what?
But precisely, right?
A third party
It's
hitting 2 million
ridiculous.
sales. Huge success. Fucking PlayStation IP hitting 10 million in like 3 months or something like that. What a fucking fail. Like, what? what kind of sideways ass world am I living?
Exactly. They announced them Spider-Man sales. And they were like, that's it. I'm like,
Yeah.
That's it? 11 million? Like,
It's been
bro,
four- it's only been
people
4
are
months.
shouting to the mountaintops when a game hits a million sales. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, it's
Like,
been
I'm just like,
it's been
alright.
wild.
All right, it's cool. That's fine. PlayStation.
I mean, but-
get it.
but
Y'all
we-
hold PlayStation to a higher standard because they they're them essentially. So
Exactly.
I get it.
Yeah, they put
It's cool.
these higher requirements on PlayStation, but we all know it. But shout out to us out here enjoying Stellar Blade and all these other great games. But yeah, obviously we've seen the results of that. It's going to be very interesting latter half of this generation and tomorrow to see what really happens and stop all this speculation, about this mythical super handheld that Xbox is apparently going to release, that is going to play every game on the planet, and all these other things. I can't wait for that.
It's gonna brush your
It's gonna
teeth.
outsell the Switch, guys.
Yeah, it's going to
brush
outsell the
your
Switch.
teeth, It's
Yeah.
gonna come your head. It's gonna do everything.
Yeah, I can't wait. So
What I'm interested in is to
That's
see,
another thing I want to address. Everyone keeps saying the console market's dying and shit like that. I want to hear what people are saying when the fucking Switch 2 comes out and they're like, oh, they're selling more consoles this year than
hotcakes.
ever in fucking history of goddamn consoles. Like, no, only one console's dying.
yeah, pretty much. What were you saying, Morgan?
It's just I'm interested to see. A lot of Xbox fans have been saying the reason games like that come to Xbox, later after PlayStation has had them for 2 or 3 years. They're like, you can't expect people to buy it if you don't build up the fan base. They said that with Square, right? Like, well, you expect me to buy Crisis Core when you don't give me Final Fantasy VII? Like, what do you think? Of course, their sales are gonna be low, right? That's the excuse, right? So with Sega giving them access to Persona 3, 4, 5, whatever, right? With the remakes and the remasters, I want to see if what they said is going to be true. Now that they've given you access and built you up as a fan base, right?
Morgan,
that
you
was
already know.
excuse.
You just being sarcastic. Come on.
They're
Listen,
not-
that
they're
was the
not-
excuse.
they're not
The
dropping
excuse
numbers,
was
though. How are you
was
gonna see?
And you know what? It
can't-
was just an excuse, too. Come
You
on
can't-
now.
you
Morgan,
can't
are
expect
you
us
gonna
to
see
buy
it?
it. Hold on, you can't expect us to buy it if you don't give us the other titles, right? If you don't give us the
Correction. I
previous
said I
titles.
would play it. That's what it's going to be.
You can't expect us to
Morgan.
buy this game if we don't have the previous. So now that they have the previous, I expect games like Metaphor, and whenever they release Persona 6 to sell very well on the Xbox. That's
But
all
Mhm.
I'm
then
saying.
they're not dropping numbers, so how are we gonna know?
Listen,
And to
it
make
doesn't matter
matter
about dropping numbers. I'm talking about we
and
could just look on Xbox's top
but
10
Yeah, yeah,
on
at
and
least.
to make
we could
matter what when oh shit 1 second
anyway,
um
like I said, we don't need
no but
numbers, Omar. We can just look at their top 10. We don't need
listen
numbers.
though when we actually get numbers like for example with uh Resident Evil, for example, doing so much when it comes to sales on PlayStation on PlayStation in UK, they dismiss it and say, "Oh, that's UK."
Oh, I mean,
Like
of course they do, because
they must be done.
it doesn't benefit them. But like Morgan said, the
Well,
problem for
again,
them is that the top 10 is very showing and very damning, and
yeah,
it updates
yeah.
immediately.
I don't have to look at the top 10 in the UK. I can look at the top 10 in the US
Yeah, on
and
the
know
Xbox.
it's. I mean, I can scroll all the way down to the top 100, and if Persona ain't in there, then that's gonna tell me something. That's gonna tell me all I need to know.
Yep. Yeah, I
Remember that
mean,
one year Capcom dropped their numbers on all their platforms, and I'm pretty sure Microsoft had them take that shit down.
oh yeah, but they dropped the overall percentage of sales.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, they
and
did. They
yeah,
dropped the actual numbers. It was like 3.3 million. This is for all their titles, legacy or whatever, just purchases per play. It was like 3.3 on PlayStation, like 2.7 on PC, and like fucking 2.5 on Switch, and 323,000
yeah,
on Xbox.
they
That's
were
any
under
Capcom game bought throughout the entire fucking year.
they were under like 5% or something. Part of the percentage wise,
Well, it was like total was about 10 million, and they
Motherfuckers
did
wanna write off.
300,000. What is that? Like 0.03%?
yeah, it was the numbers were terrible.
3%. It's 3%, isn't it? I think, yeah, 3%.
Yeah. So I mean, the reality
Why
is
are we
like
here?
I mean but that's the reality, right? And like people want to fight us on this, but it's like meanwhile a lot of these people are fighting and talking all this smack, but a bunch of the Xbox fans are. I mean, we can see it all over Twitter. Are buying what PCs? They're doing all this fighting for
Oh yeah,
Xbox.
They're moving either to PlayStation or PC.
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
moving to PC now.
yeah.
Oh.
That's
You
been the
realize
new
where
thing.
Xbox is giving most of the attention. Like
Mhm.
it's at the PC market right now. That's where Xbox is showing most of their love, and so now they'll have every excuse in the book why they're doing it, but we know why they're doing it because
Yeah,
they
they're like,
realize
oh,
Xbox
PlayStation
is.
games are coming to PC later. It's like, bro, your games are coming to PC and Xbox later. What the fuck you talking about?
Yeah, we get it. You realize the console is no longer the priority when Xbox, and so you're getting the platform that is.
They get
Yeah.
Xbox,
Sad.
they get PC exclusives first. Xbox comes later.
hmm
Yeah.
It's sad, but
So
it is
can
what it
we
is.
let's move on from this Xbox dunk fest.
Sir, you're not the host. Hush. This is Nate's call.
I'm still
Thank
the
you very
owner.
much.
Yeah.
What?
Anyway. So we obviously combined
Wow.
parts 1 and 3, and we went on ahead and talked about the Xbox and how that was holding back everything and what was going on with that. Obviously we had the Summer Games Fest that went on.
We're not gonna talk about
Everybody's
Ryan
show. We already talked about that.
McCaffrey. We
That was the
didn't.
whole
We didn't
topic.
talk
Don't nobody
about
care about him
anymore.
directly. We
I
literally
want
talked
to
about
talk
it.
about how difficult it is now that, but this is a bigger picture now. You
Oh,
seen
man.
the article
Oh, my
that
God.
IGN
This is why we've
typed
been
in?
in here for 5 hours.
No,
Exactly.
No. Okay, fine.
What is your issue with
what was
Ryan
right?
McCaffrey?
My issue is IGN talked about these what you call it studio articles.
Yes,
And
they
then
bought
they-
they bought a bunch of people.
Yeah.
So the overall IGN Entertainment, not IGN, just to be clear.
And they just now put out, not now, back then put out an article that PlayStation is money hating. And they being genuine about it.
So to be fair, they didn't say that. Ryan McCaffrey said that. The article was correct. The article stated
But yeah, it's
stated what the
corrected.
issue was.
I get you, but that's fucking scary for one person that's obviously biased to have so much power.
I mean, we know Ryan McCaffrey is biased. Like, I mean, he's very blatant about that. I mean, and he obviously deleted that tweet immediately because he knew he was completely wrong. And like Morgan pointed out, he not only was completely wrong, he only read the headline and didn't actually read what was in the article, his own company's article, and stated that that it was money hatted, which again, like I said, the article goes on to state that the issue and the reason for the delay is due to optimization issues going on with Xbox, and that's why it's not going to be ready. So to be fair, IGN, the actual people who are responsible, behind the article, the person who wrote it, I don't remember his name, was correct. Is this Ryan McCaffrey was just too busy running his mouth, and yeah, that is obviously not a pretty picture when someone like that, who is I believe a senior editor for IGN, is running off at the mouth and causing those issues. But I
To
mean,
be fair though,
we've been
with
known that.
IGN, they do have fanboys for Xbox and this and that, but they do have, I don't know if they still do, but they have ones that are PlayStation. They had a Nintendo show, an Xbox show, a fucking PlayStation show. So they got.
Yeah, they used
I
to
mean,
have what's his name, but I think he moved. He's now at like Naughty Dog or something. The guy who used to be the PlayStation guy for IGN.
yeah, they might have
Um,
fired all the PlayStation guys, but I'm just saying they used to.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
used to have both,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, they used to.
yeah, I mean, what that means for the reporting from some of these people, I don't know, but I mean, ultimately we get our news when we get our news, and I mean, you can't skew the actual news, more than one way or the other. Most of the stuff is direct reporting, and I mean, if you're looking for any real stories, we already know better than to depend on any of these people, and they make their biases very obvious, like Tom Warren, who's clearly the biggest X-bot on the planet. And I mean, like Morgan points out plenty of times, if you really want real stories, you're going to get that kind of stuff from Jason Schreier. Even though he has 90% of Twitter blocked. Uh, but yeah,
He don't have me blocked, so I'm blocked.
yeah. But like, I mean,
And
if you want real
with
reporting,
the
that's what should
Time,
come
Omar,
from.
Give time.
I'm about to say the one
You said give
person
it time?
that hasn't blocked
Yeah.
Omar, but
Hey, I never saw what's his name, Jason Schreier as a console fan, so I never called him out on anything.
No, I mean,
one
he's
thing
I'll
Omar
say
just
this:
reporting.
Jason
Tell you about
Schreier
myself
is
on Twitter.
he's on top of shit and he gets good information, but he is a bitch.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I
He
mean,
knows
that's
he's a
fair.
bitch.
Oh my God.
He has the power, and he knows. That's right.
But yeah,
He a
the
soft bitch,
problem
though.
with Ryan McCaffrey is when it came to that tweet is he definitely spoke out of emotion. He got really emotional. He saw a game not coming to Xbox and immediately thought, "Oh, it's because of PlayStation," and he just immediately tweeted it without thinking, without probably doing any kind of research to figure out, not even looking on, Black Wukong's site to see why or type, do any kind of research to figure out why exactly the game wasn't coming on Xbox. His first thought was just, oh, this has to be because of PlayStation. And the sad fact is that is a lot of Xbox fanboys mentalities. Like
And propaganda.
anything not coming to Xbox, the only probable reason is PlayStation did something. They spent some type of money to prevent a game
How dare
from coming to
PlayStation
Xbox.
money hat.
Yeah, that's the only logical. And unfortunately, unfortunately he deleted it. He should have kept it up there. Stand by what you said.
Exactly.
But he deleted it real quick. And but like I said, when we find out the real reason is that it's Xbox, that they're trying to make sure that it's
Up to standard.
par with the PlayStation version. He didn't have anything to say about that. He
Do
didn't
we
tweet
know
about
when
it.
it's coming
He
on
didn't, he didn't say
for Xbox?
no. They just said it's delayed. They don't have a date.
Yeah, no date.
And he didn't think to correct what he said or say, oh, my apologies, or say anything about the fact that it's delayed for Xbox. Like he just moved on at that point. And I'm just like, see, that just kind of points out his bias. Like he doesn't want to say anything when it's Xbox's fault, but he had all the words to say when he thought it was a PlayStation issue. But again, that's just why when it comes to people who are clearly biased against one or the other, I just kind of shrug, because this is expected behavior from them. Like it's not
He
out of
blocked
the
3
realm.
people I know because of that post that they were in the response.
I'm sure they were up under his tweets reminding him.
Oh,
that
I
he
was like
posted
comment
that.
number 4, but I didn't get blocked. I was one of the lucky scapegoats. He probably ran out of
Yeah,
probably
I
ran out of blocks for
saw
the
under
day.
a lot of his tweets, people kept pointing it out, like, bro, you gonna say anything?
Hmm.
Of course, he's just ignoring everybody, but yeah,
Yeah, I
it's
mean,
yeah, it's
but
sad.
we've talked about that, right? The issue with journalists and the need to be first and jump the gun on a bunch of stuff, report the incorrect information, and then even if there's an amendment to the article or something, it gets 5 shares versus 25,000. You know what I mean? Like
Yes, the
it's never the same
Oh,
headline,
like
thing.
remind
especially
me
if
of
it's
the
negative, is gonna
yeah,
be way
reminds
more
me of
attention on it than the actual correction.
Hmm.
the whole Neil Druckmann thing when they thought he said one thing about AI and about his game being the greatest thing since sliced bread, but then
Yep.
it turns out that the Sony interviewer just kind of took their own liberties on the interview and kind of put words in his mouth that he didn't say. But people were retweeting all that all day, like, oh man, he's got some kind of ego on him, man. Oh man, this is why we hate Neil Druckmann, blah blah blah. People had all that type to say, but then when it came out that that's not actually what he said, did the retraction get any kind of
Nope.
spin on
Yeah,
the
no
media? Did it
traction.
get the same amount of retweets and
I'm gonna be
quotes?
honest.
Nope.
I wouldn't have even known that it was
Nobody said
corrected if
nothing.
you didn't personally tell me. I didn't even see it.
Yep. Yeah, because nobody once it got corrected and people found out, oh, that wasn't him. It was actually Sony messing up. No, most people didn't say anything. Most people didn't say or take down the tweets of where they originally called him a egotistical maniac, or oh, he's this and that and he thinks he's God's greatest gift or whatever. They just kept going about their lives. They didn't feel the need to retract their statements. So
No
once you get people,
apologies.
yeah, exactly. Once you
They
get
just
people
went back into the shadows and were like,
facts, because they don't care, because as long as something fits their agenda, or like Omar said, it's overly negative, that's the only thing people really care about, because once the truth comes out, that's not interesting enough. They're like, oh, okay,
Exactly.
anyway, moving on.
But yeah. So yeah, I mean, obviously we know the whole deal with that and Ryan and Destin and all their biases. So it is what it is. But getting back to the games,
That's a
Summer
nice
Games
life for Omar,
Fest.
though. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I know. Summer Games Fest showcase happened. The highlights, the disappointments. I mean, we kind of saw what we saw. Um, but yeah, just to get a kind of general interest. Um, the other day they had Jeff put on, a solid show. I mean, Jeff does what he does. But ultimately, it's about the games. So we just want to get an overview, see what everybody liked, maybe what they disliked, and just grab a few highlights. Even today, because this wasn't included, but if you saw something today in the future game showcase, and you want to highlight it, go ahead and go for it. I know in particular, both Morgan and Weeb were watching it, and I think Omar saw some of it. So I'll go ahead and start with Weeb. Weeb, um, the summer showcase. How'd you feel about it? If you had to score it, you know, between, I guess, as Jeff said it, A, B, C, or D. Um, what would you score it, and what was the highlight for you?
Well, if I had to score between those, definitely a D. I
Okay,
mean, Jeff really needs to learn to, cut back on the bullshit.
agreed.
Like he's treating this as a game awards show, which is also getting out of control. But I mean, I missed the time. I can't believe I'm saying I missed the time when we had COVID, where he couldn't get on the stage and just had to shoot it from his garage.
Less
Because at
is
least,
more, isn't it? Less
yeah,
is more.
exactly. Because at least we had actual games being shown and not just the attention of Jeff and uh,
Mm-hmm.
getting his famous people on stage and shit like that. Like I don't know,
Yeah.
man.
It's also they seem to be out of touch with reality. Like that chicken commercial got literally 3 to 5 minutes. What the hell?
Oh, that was about paying the bills. We know that. Because that was,
Yeah,
yeah, that was a mobile game commercial. So you already know that was just pure money right there.
yeah. That commercial that probably cost a shit ton of money on his own with all those stars in it.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy. Um, yeah, highlights. Yeah, Lego Horizon. That definitely. I mean, we knew it was coming. Like it wasn't a surprise, but
Mm-hmm.
it was good to actually see the game. Definitely, I think they're definitely gonna get it because I love Horizon. So I mean, I'm not necessarily a Lego guy, but anything that's tied to it, I definitely want to check it out. Um, Other than that, were there really any? Yeah, I mean, we're getting a new Fatal Fury, which I don't think was announced before.
Yeah, I hadn't heard about that
Um,
before that. So.
No, it was
no,
Terry Bogard in Street Fighter, but there is a Fatal Fury coming in 2025.
yeah, no, that was announced in the show. Um, what I actually highlight the Power Rangers beat 'em up because
I knew you would like that one.
That
yeah,
was my game of the show. Not gonna
I
lie.
love that. I love. I mean, we really need all these classic cartoons need to just have their own sort of TMNT beat 'em up
I
Hmm.
need a
style
final
TV
fight back
version.
too, sir.
Nah, I feel you. That's what's up.
Yeah, I mean, other than that, yeah, was there anything else noteworthy? I guess it's more from Morgan, but the Alan Wake 2 DLC.
Mm-hmm.
Though did like them sort of trying to basically, I guess, create sort of this the multiverse of Alan Wake, I guess.
Hmm.
Um, and other than that, yeah, what else did they
Did
have?
they did they convince you to invest in now that they have a physical? Or are you thinking about getting Alan Wake 2 physical?
That's definitely a thing that will yeah, get me to try to dip into it because that's something that really was sort of bothering me that there was no physical edition
Hmm.
of the game. So yeah, but when it comes out, I'll definitely pick it up. I can't promise anything when I'm gonna play it because I mean we
You
already
have a
talked about.
backlog. Hmm.
I have a backlog and my backlog has a backlog.
Ah,
Facts.
I love this
Oh
line.
man.
Nah, I definitely get that.
Uh,
Anything else? Or are you all good?
yeah, oh yeah, Neva was also pretty good.
Yeah, never.
The Craze of Greece that also looked pretty nice. Other than that, like yeah, I don't really from the show itself, not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily anything. Interesting.
Anything from
Uh,
today? The future game showcase?
yeah, Go Simulator, you'll see.
Yeah.
No doubt. Cool. Were
Probably
you,
probably some more, but yeah, I mean it's late, so I don't really recall what
Yeah.
I saw today.
no problem. Yeah, just the highlights or whatever. Same thing. Moving on to I know Morgan seen it. She saw most of everything that I saw. So Morgan, yeah, what was your score for the show, and what were some of your highlights, like you said, from the show, and anything that you saw today from the future game showcase?
Um. Well, my score for the show. Um. I kind of knew going in that this was gonna be a disappointment. Not only because Jeff Keighley, it's a Jeff Keighley show,
Mm-hmm.
but
He did it
I think
himself, eh? An 8 for
yeah.
him.
I think Keely's cool, but I mean, he kind of overhypes his shows a lot. And I mean, I get it. It's your show. You want people eyes on it. You want people to watch
It's
it.
the money, really.
You got to make that money. Exactly. So I get hyping it up to astronomical levels, but you gotta lead people on in the correct manner. I mean, he came out in the interview and seemed to be more honest about what to expect. Like he gave it an 8. He said there's not going to be many new shows. Most of what we're gonna see is stuff we've already seen before and getting kind of release dates and stuff like that. And um, he kind of was more honest about what to expect via, versus how hype he is when he's tweeting about it. But
Mm-hmm.
as far as how I'd rate it, yeah, it was about like a like a 5 or 6. I was just like, nah. I mean, I enjoyed the fact that, the first thing we saw was, Lego Horizon. I was like, oh man, that looks flipping amazing.
That did set it
You know,
off
it was
right.
it yeah, and it was a lot more than what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was just going to be kind of like how they handle like their other IPs, where it's just kind of a Lego funnier version of them, like they do with Star Wars or Harry
Oh, the
Potter or
DC
whatever.
one with Batman and shit, all funny and shit. Like, oh,
Hmm.
I farted. You know what I mean? Like, shit like that.
Exactly. But it seems like, we get to build and do stuff. Like it's gonna be like more than just, a kind of a one for one in Lego version. Like it seems to going to be expanding upon it more than that and making it more of a fun kind of co-op building experience based on the Horizon world. So I thought, okay, cool. That seems that that sounds fun to me.
Yeah.
Sign me up. And it's coming out this year. So I was like, oh yes, because I didn't know whether it was gonna be, because we all knew it was coming, but to hear it was coming out this year, I was like, oh hell yeah. So that was a good surprise for me. I like that. That was a highlight. Trying to think of, the Alan Wake 2 DLC, obviously. That
Mm-hmm.
looks cool. God knows when I'm actually gonna get back into that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that backlog is crazy. But
Karen.
yeah, that wasn't the summer showcase though, sir.
Oh, I
That
was
was
just.
the after.
Oh, okay.
God, let me talk. God. But during
Did you call Morgan a Karen?
yeah, that Karen game was cool though. It's like an indie game where you're a mountain climber, and you have to, it's very intricate. You have to be careful where you place your pick, and if you mess up, you can fall. Like it looks really cool. Um, I'm excited to see more of that. But uh I'm not gonna play this game, and I really have no interest in it, but I thought the trailer was funny. That Killer Bean game, thought that was
Oh yeah.
Oh
pretty funny.
yeah.
It was it looks funny, but it looks like it's only gonna come to PC. But it looked interesting. It was a funny little trailer. But um they showed a little teaser of Star Wars Outlaws. So it wasn't much. It was like a 30-second trailer, but it was cool.
Mm-hmm.
Um then the Civilization 7 um coming to consoles. I was like, okay, that's cool, I guess.
Yeah, that was surprise. That was surprising at the very least.
Yeah, that Skate EA trailer, I have no idea what the hell they were doing with that. I was like, that was so confusing. I was like, that whole skit with them in that office. I
Yeah.
was like, I was like, what?
I was
I was so
completely lost.
confused.
Yeah.
It-
I was like, all right.
Leave
Oh, they
that to
showed.
developer.
Yeah, I was just like, I mean, I feel like y'all were trying to be funny, but the joke didn't land.
Yeah, it wasn't funny.
Oh, they showed off Kingdom Come Deliverance too. That looks good. Um, yeah, I want to try that out. I did try the first
Built
one.
from the
I
ground up
played
for
it.
the Series S.
Yo, shut up. Yeah, they did say the Series S was kind of holding them back on their scope. You know. But I played a little bit of the first one. I liked it, but I think another game came out, or I got distracted or something, so I ended up stopping. So I want to go back and play that and finish it before I obviously get into the second one. But it looked good, from what I saw. And the last one, oh yeah, Phantom Blade Zero. That looks amazing. The gameplay looks phenomenal. Um, Giving me really big Rise of the Ronin kind of vibes to it. It looks fast, sleek, and uh, PlayStation exclusive. So everything you like to hear in a game all wrapped up in one. So I can't wait for that game to come out. PlayStation, they were the start of the show and then they ended the show. So they were really the only key kind of highlights that stood out in the showcase for me. But yeah, this has got to be. And I didn't even like the summer showcase. The summer showcase last year was annoying because of all those commercials and breaks and ads and stuff. But this one was, God, it was even worse because at least with that one there were a lot of games that I like to see. With this one, it just seemed like, I don't know. It just seems like Jeff was looking any and everywhere for a game to possibly include in the showcase, and
Whoever comes up with a check is on the show. That's it. That's the only
Yeah, like
qualification
I'm
needed.
just
You know what I
like,
mean?
yeah, because it kept going on. I was like, man, where's that game that's worth the moniker of the world premiere? Like, where is that
Yeah.
at? Like, I was
May-
waiting for it.
Maybe he should cut back on charging 250K per minute.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
Yeah, especially
crazy.
when you got a 2 show. I already like that show made me less interested in watching the Xbox show just because I was like, I don't know if I can do another 2 hours of some bullshit.
yeah. It's like I'm interested in the Xbox show now. I'm just like, well, one, they're gonna be showing State of Decay, and
Make
maybe they'll
that
show a
bitch
little
an
bit
hour
more of
long.
Indiana Jones and stuff like that, and Fable. So I'm excited to see that. But it's just like
An
I was just like,
hour
damn,
of it's
Jeff.
gonna be people just talking.
Exactly,
You know,
doing
shut
goddamn
up,
cartwheels and shit
bro.
like that through the
Y'all
hall.
don't jinx this, please.
No,
Yeah, we
I'm
need
letting
we
you know
need this
ahead
to
of
be
time. I'm
good.
helping you out.
Wait, cartwheels? That's Ubisoft.
Oh man, yeah,
The,
you're
the
right.
Let's
That is a
Dance.
Ubisoft thing.
Oh,
But
good whole Let's Dance.
yeah, it's just yeah, Jeff, you gotta get better, man. Like find somebody out here that's willing
You got to condense that
to do
down and
something.
just. That's too long.
Yeah, I just don't even know because like I don't have a problem with people wanting to highlight indies. I think indies should be highlighted, especially
Mhm.
give them
Do a second
as
show for
much
it.
marketing
Space it
as
out.
possible. But he be
But
picking some of the most mobily looking
yeah,
indie games I've ever seen. I'm like, there are definitely some gem indie games that deserve a highlight and deserve a trailer and deserve the spotlight of a summer game show. But the ones he picks to put on there are not it. I'm like, bro, what? There's so many games that I was like, I want to see this, and they're not even big AAA games. They were just indie games that I was hoping to get maybe a little bit more information on or get a date or something, and none of them were there. I'm just like, man, those are all possible. You couldn't hit none of them studios up and be like, yeah, y'all got something, y'all want to show something? Because I heard like for like indie games, he wasn't charging the 250,000 for like for the smaller studios. He wasn't charging those prices. So like you couldn't have called any of them and be like, hey, summer showcase is coming up. You guys got something you wanna send me or something?
Exactly.
But yeah,
No
it
doubt.
was. I ended the show or got off Discord and was just like, well, it's kind of a waste of my 2 hours.
Yeah, that happened.
Yeah.
No, I get that.
yeah. And no Kojima.
No Kojima,
Yeah,
right?
what was that? Like, they had an
No,
argument or
his
something?
brother
Like,
was
I
there.
think
His
so,
brother was there. Remember?
Oh yeah,
oh
yeah.
yeah.
This,
Oh
this
man.
time Kojima.
Oh, they
So
must have had a fight.
I don't know. Did you get to see it, Kay? I don't know if you got to see it or not.
Which one?
So you got to see the summer games fest, but not the future, right? Not the future show.
I was there watching it with you. I mean,
No, I didn't know. I know you left at some point. That's why I was just making sure you saw the whole thing.
the Summer Game Fest, I watched the whole thing up until the day of the dev thing started up. But the future one, I was asleep.
Okay, that's why you missed that one. Okay, so what was your score if you had to go from, like I say, A to D, and then what were your highlights from the show?
I would give the show a D. It was like I kind of like Morgan. When I left, I was like, man, I could have just slept.
Yeah,
And then like caught maybe 3-4 trailers at most
yeah,
later.
and that would have been enough.
And that would have been enough. I mean, there was some funny stuff like Killer Bean and the
That was actually
the
one of the
gummy
best looking games there.
and then the gummy koala bear 20 multiplayer jailbreak game that was funny to
Oh
watch.
yeah.
But other than that, my highlights were, of course, the Lego Horizon game. That was like we all knew it was coming, but it was cool to actually see it and then to get a release date. And it was, I will say that it was surprising how so many things were shown with the release date of like, oh yeah, it's coming out in like 4 months,
Yeah.
from now.
Yeah, I think that was the
And,
big surprise is how fast everything is coming out. That was crazy.
Hmm.
Yes. Let's see what else was a highlight for me. I feel like they showed a bunch of like filler
Yeah, I agree.
and just to fill up that time slot. Like you guys were saying, it could have been condensed to like a 1 hour show, to be honest.
Mhm.
But other than that, the Phantom Zero was pretty cool. And man, I'm struggling. I'm like
I
I'm
mean,
trying to think
I
of
honestly get it. It was
anything that.
pretty bad.
It's not just you.
Oh
I mean,
man.
so like Metaphor was cool to see, even though I'm not really into those type of games. But I also
Oh shoot, I
haven't
forgot Metaphor
really.
was in there. Damn.
Real
I
talk,
but
Metaphor, it seems to be the perfect game to jump in.
Yeah, no, I saw it and I was like, yeah, I was thinking, I'm not really into these, but I also haven't really given it a fair shot. So I was thinking Metaphor looked pretty cool, for what it was.
Yeah.
Um, and then today, the one thing that I heard, which is probably going to be the most important thing to me and my family, is the Goat Simulator 3 DLC.
No
Oh
doubt.
man. I like when he told me that, I immediately watched that trailer and it looks fantastic. I am so excited. Like, man, another thing is that there's so many games coming out. It's going to be hard to pick a personal goatee because, like, there's a difference between, okay, we know this is going to win Game of the Year, and then
Right.
you have a game that's a Game of the Year for you
Facts. Yeah.
personally, right? So, like, for me, that's going to be hard because I already know that Goat Simulator 3 DLC is going to hit, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's so many other games that have come out. And then we don't know when the Lego game's coming out either. So we don't know if that's going to be before the Game of the Year cutoff date or not. And
Yeah.
then you got Astrobot coming, and that's
I
going
don't
to be
think
amazing.
Goat Simulator has a DLC can be a game of the year.
No, she's meant in general. Like she's moving
Oh.
from that.
Oh, I think it's gonna be Astro. I'm not gonna lie. People could call me a
I looked
fanboy.
it
Go
up
ahead.
because DLCs are eligible.
You said you thought they were?
Yeah, I could have sworn I looked it
I
up
don't think
because
so.
I know they have a category for DLCs
They had a
or
category for
expansions.
best
Yeah, they have a
ongoing and
category for
stuff.
best.
And
Yeah.
Yeah, but
that's
not.
ongoing.
Yeah, not
Yeah.
the actual game of the year. It has to be a full release.
Right. But
'Cause I
I
know
wasn't even
think
talking
Cyberpunk
about
got it last year or whatever.
talking about Goat Simulator 3 DLC being like actual game of the year. Like,
Yeah, you meant
know.
out of everything else coming out, like what is really going to be your personal pick?
I mean, I don't know. I haven't played them yet, So, like, Horizon Lego is gonna come out, and Black Myth Wukong's gonna come out. Star Wars Outlaws is gonna come out. Like there's so much stuff coming out, and like I can't even really say until I start putting my hands on some of these games.
But we
I
heard,
said,
but we
like,
heard
it's
the
gonna be
latter half of
tough.
the year was dry. Kay, there's not going to be nothing to play. I don't know what's going on.
I was the first person to say we got a whole bunch of shows here in a couple of weeks that, goddamn it, they're gonna start announcing all that shit, and people are gonna be like, "Oh, we do have stuff the second half." I knew it. Like, I just knew it.
That's what's up. No, that I'm right there with you, Kay. There's a lot to be played still. What's ultimately going to end up being your game of the year? I think it's going to be really interesting because obviously you're playing, your personal game of the year doesn't have to be from that year. So it's going to be interesting to hear what
Right.
you have to say because you're experiencing some new genres and things that you typically don't play, as well as you're going to experience, some of the other games, like you said, Black Myth Wukong and stuff that are going to be full on new releases from this year. So I think your pick will be really interesting, given the mix of what you've been playing and so on and so forth. So I'm looking forward to it. But yeah.
Other than that, I can't think of anything from the show. Like, to be honest, there's nothing that absolutely
Just wowed you.
blew me out of the water.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, Horizon Lego, I'm like, oh, that's awesome, but that's not something that's got me, jumping out of my
Yeah, I'm gonna
seat,
get it,
you
but it
know.
ain't like I gotta pre-order that shit right now, and like I'm gonna get it.
Yeah, and I'm excited for Astrobot too, but like there's a difference when you're sitting there, you're like, oh, Astrobot, that's awesome, and then you see the reveal of God of War Ragnarok. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So what you're
like the
saying is no big IPs revealed.
Well, no, I'm not saying a big IP because like a lot of these are your personal taste, right? Like someone could be way more excited about an indie than a
Mhm.
big AAA
Yep.
IP. It just depends on who you are as a person, right? I was just saying in general, there was nothing that blew me out of the water.
Hmm.
And like we already knew Black Myth Wukong was like a lot of the bigger ones. We already know that they've been coming for a while, so.
No doubt. Cool. Um, so next up, Karaba, what were your highlights and what would you give the show?
Okay, so I'm surprised none of you guys have mentioned the biggest thing that, in my opinion, happened at the show, which is when the devs behind
You mean metaphor?
no, this is not a game. This
This
is a
nigga was gonna. Is
project.
he gonna say Among Us?
Yeah, the devs
I
behind.
knew it.
Oh, are you talking about like the siren-looking game?
No. I'm talking
Yes.
specifically about the devs behind Among Us came out and said that they're starting a project for indie developers called Outer Sloth,
Oh,
and
okay.
Yeah.
basically they're gonna showcase their games and fund their games, which is, in my opinion, such a fantastic, no, amazing thing to come out of the showcase, and it's pissing me off to high end that it's them doing it and not Jeff Keighley,
Well, Among Us
because
was pretty big.
he got the money and he got the everything that you would think he would chip in and
I mean,
support.
he's not a dev though, so I
He's
get
in
that
it for the
He's
part.
money.
still
Yeah.
he
He's trying to
talks
make money.
about highlighting devs and all that jazz,
Yeah, but like
but
develop. That's
He
what I'm
is the
saying.
ones that
He's
making
not
money.
gonna. Yeah, he's not gonna. He doesn't understand the developer aspect. No matter how much he gets to see this stuff behind the scenes, and they do as a developer, and they had a breakout hit. I mean, Among Us made astronomical amounts of money, so I can definitely understand where they're coming from. But that was something that you liked that was in
Like
the show.
yeah, I love that. I genuinely love it when developers give back to the community. You said it. They're developers. They understand the hardship, and they are in position to help, and they're helping.
Yeah.
Like that was amazing. Yeah, because you guys name dropped everything under the sun between Neva, between Metaphor, between Ast- Astro Playroom, not Playroom, Horizon game, Star Wars Outlaw, you name it, we've seen it all, and we're excited for it all. It's just, um, if I would name drop a game, I don't know the name of it. It it after the showcase. It was after the showcase, and it was actually a showcase with the second showcase that you shared on the screen.
The future game
On
showcase.
on Twitter. It's
Yeah, the indie showcase.
yeah, the indie showcase,
Oh, okay. The day,
and
but day of the devs.
Yeah.
yeah, and they showed a game where you are playing as a kid in a Game Boy, and you're and you need to look at 2D and 3D at the same time. 3D for platforming and 2D for shooting enemies.
Oh, I know what you're
And it's
talking about. That game
such
did
a
look cool.
cool concept. And again, out of this showcase, and I mean, I'm combining both, all three showcase or four showcase that showcase everything. A lot of what I've seen is just indies and fresh new ideas. And I'm genuinely super excited about all of them. As for the May showcase, I give it like a 4 or a 5. I forgot what I gave the PlayStation showcase, but I would not be surprised if it's close to that PlayStation showcase. Because that shit was horrendous.
Yeah, you get the PlayStation
And
Showcase
to
at 4.
me, it makes me question that what's the best solution? Is it to show something that's gonna take a long time to come out, people are gonna be excited about, or just have one or two or even three big IP that are gonna pop up and showcase something like that? Because I don't recall a single big IP that was revealed. We've seen games that have been revealed previously, being what you call it, given a little bit of a highlight, but like for example, Star Wars Outlaw, but like a God of War reveal or something like that, we never had anything stuff like that, and it's disappointing because the gaming industry as a whole have been silent and we've been dying. I mean, question: wasn't this supposed to be E3 or his take on E3, or am I wrong?
I mean, it's supposed to be, but it's spread out more, and then obviously the people are also having their own shows, so you're going to see them hold back for their shows in the way that the E3 show floor
Hmm.
didn't show everything. So now you're getting to, what is ultimately going to be the other events, the ones we've always looked forward to. The Xbox showcase, the Ubisoft showcase, the PC game showcase. You're going to see a lot of the bigger titles finally showed off there. And I think it just so happened that in this case, unlike at the awards show where he's the only thing happening, uh, there's multiple things happening throughout this week, and that's why you see such a much weaker show coming from
Yeah, I
them.
was gonna say to Keely's defense, he can't, unlike E3, get all of the big publishers to come under his show. They're all doing their own thing. They're all holding their own showcase. Ever since COVID, and these publishers realized that they could do it themselves, and they don't have to pay the money to rent out the floors of wherever E3 was being held and pay all that money to do it, and they could realize they can just do it themselves. That's what
I
they're
don't
gonna do.
think
They're gonna
people
do it
realize how much
themselves.
that cost.
It was
Yeah, that cost
expensive.
them
Sony said
buckets.
like the last year they went there because they get a big ass floor space. It was 9 million just for the space.
Yeah,
That's
hell
not
no.
Yeah.
including flying people out there,
So,
paying for all the shit that they got to send out there, and
the
comping people
booths,
for their meals,
everything.
their pay, their all that. You're probably looking at 75 million. You adjust that for what we are at now. You're talking about $100 million for the weekend.
Yeah. And
That's
so
more than
ever since
Goddamn
then,
Stellar Blade probably cost. You know what I
they're
mean?
like,
I'd rather
nah,
have
we're about
another
to.
Stellar Blade.
Yeah, they're like, we're about to work from home. Forget all that.
Exactly.
Like, so yeah, so he just got he kind of has to do the best with what he can get. He can't get, I'm sure he would love to have had the actual gameplay trailer for Star Wars Outlaws at his show, but remember he can only get like a 30-second clip. Then he said, "Oh, you'll get more at the Ubisoft showcase event on Monday or whenever it is. But we'll give you a little clip here." I'm sure he would have loved that actual clip that they're going to show at the Ubisoft Forward event at his event, but because all these publishers are holding their own events, he can only get so much. So, I'll give him that. I just wish he would be able to highlight independent um the
I
bigger
really believe
independent
he should
developers
become an
better.
indie then.
Yeah,
What's the
I'm.
point of watching a showcase if you're not
That
gonna
ain't
show us?
gonna make him no money though.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
not gonna he wants the big world premieres. That's not gonna
He's gonna get
really,
everything that he can, and he's
He's
having a
not
show regardless
getting
if he gets
the
them or not.
well
because
this
they're
year he didn't
still
get his world premiere.
yeah, he definitely didn't get it this year, but there's still, big developers that don't have their own events, so he tries his best to get those, but I guess there just wasn't any that were ready to show
hmm
this year. So It is what it is, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
people want to poo-poo on that stuff or whatever, but the Game Awards last year was the best show I seen all damn year by hands down for me.
Yeah, the Game
It wasn't
Awards
even
was a
close.
lot better. Yeah.
The Game Awards was lit. That was the best show of last year.
And then I went out of order, so I forgot who in this case because we were talking about some other stuff.
You gotta, I think Nelson.
Yeah.
I think
So
Omar,
that's
We
right?
got
that's what
Weeb
I
yet
thought.
too. Weeb hasn't gone. Oh yeah, he did.
Yeah, yeah, we went
I mean,
first.
What's the first one,
He
man?
was first.
Yeah, he was first. Okay.
That's
Yeah,
right.
that's what I
That's
thought.
right.
So
Power Rangers,
Nelson.
man of culture.
Though I do want to go last again because I remembered a few.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. I'll come back to you then. Nelson,
Sure.
what you got for me?
Not much, and I think it's because it dragged on so long. I forgot the things that I liked with all the
You're
things that
okay.
I didn't like.
Oh,
But
matter of fact, but by
yeah,
the way,
it
I
was
just wanted to
just
point
too
out
long.
on screen is the thing that Omar was talking about. If people want to see the visual representation, the video game he was talking about, where you're on a Game Boy. So, just by the way,
Thank
but
you
yeah, go ahead.
for putting it on screen.
But
Because
I didn't
this,
see
this,
Phantom Blade till afterwards because I had to go pick up my car from the from an oil change because I left it there because I'm home on Fridays.
Yeah.
And my wife came home, so she was like, "I gotta go," because she needed a vehicle to go to one of her work appointments and stuff like that. So I had to go like then. So I thought it was basically over because it was like an hour and 40 minutes I sat through that shit, and it wasn't done yet. So I missed Phantom Blade, but I went back and watched that, and that looks absolutely stellar. The fast gameplay I like,
Mm-hmm.
that looked really good. The Power Rangers, like Weeb said, that was like that's a call home to me. I love my beat 'em ups. I play with my kids pretty often. We love play River City Girls, Double Dragon, and then we play Streets of Rage. We go back and play Final Fight, Bionic Commando. Like I love that genre, so it was really cool to see that. There was a couple other things I would play. It's not something like day one gotta play that, but I mean there's stuff in there I play like First Descendant. I played the demo. That's pretty decent and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought Slitterhead or whatever that looked
Slitterhead,
kind of
yeah.
interesting. I
That
just
did
want to
look
know if
interesting.
the mechanics, if the mechanics are, because it looked a bit janky, but I like what the game is about.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it did look a little sloppy mechanically. So, undecided on that. But other than that, there wasn't a whole lot. Goddamn,
All
it
right,
was not
cool.
the Game Awards. I'll tell you that.
So, A through D, what you got for me?
I would say a five, but if I think I would have seen Phantom Blade when I was sitting at home and not found out about it afterwards, I'd go a little higher, it'd probably be a 6. I
Okay,
gave the Game Awards last year like an 8.5 though. So
got you. Cool. You said you remembered a few. What you got?
Yeah, from the Day of the Devs, the UFO 50 game was pretty interesting. Sort of that they're basically there's like I guess 50 mini games, but they're sort of all interconnected. Sort of the idea that they're created by fictional game
Oh
developer,
yeah.
and they
Yeah.
evolve in time and become more complex and more graphically advanced. Like I got kind of like that idea. I mean, and some of them looked pretty fun. Like there were interesting takes on classics. So I think
Okay.
I'm gonna check that one out. And I also clearly forgot the Devolver showcase because there were also a couple of interesting ones, which I've now completely forgotten what they were called. There were two. One was I think Possessors, from the
Possessors, yeah.
develop. Yeah, from developers of Solar Ash, called Heart Machine, I think.
Mm-hmm.
That looked pretty good. Like it, I really like the art style, and and I love Solar Ash, so I'm definitely gonna check that one out.
No doubt.
And Tenjutsu also looked pretty cool. Sort of
Oh
this,
yeah.
sort of pixel art, sort of brawler. Looked pretty good. And I think there was one from the what are it called, the Future Gaming Show
Mm-hmm.
today. Aside from, of course, from the DLC Goat Simulator. Um, Forgot the name, but it was that sort of Crash Bandicoot like game that looked also pretty good.
The Nico one? Yeah.
Yes, that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was quite a few. There is this one which I'm gonna think you're gonna love. I share you the screen, the name with it.
Sacrifier.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've been watching that one for a couple months. That does look really good. It's a
I had no idea it existed. It's such a cool concept, turn-based and action at the
Ah,
same
so
time.
that's the one you were talking about earlier. Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah. But yeah, okay. That's what's
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
As far as myself, obviously, the Horizon obviously looked good. It looked a lot better than I thought it would. I'll be honest. Um, it looks like probably one of the best looking Lego games I've ever seen. So,
they did make
yeah,
Aloy way more bubbly.
yeah, they did. Yeah, they definitely gave her a more peppy personality, which is understandable. You know the
They
way
kind of
Lego
do
is.
that though with the Lego games, don't they? They kind
Yeah,
of do
they
that
do.
with the
Yeah.
Lego games anyway. Yeah.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. And shout out to them for the first time, as
So,
far as I'm aware, a Lego game having online co-op. Because they're usually local only. But this one's going to have online
Yeah.
co-op, which is dope. Um, which Morgan readily pointed out to me. It was like, you know what that means. Um, so
oh,
yeah.
I also like the idea that they're not going to have it like split screened. You know, like in Sackboy's Big Adventure, where it was just one big screen that everyone saw each other on.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, it's going to be
Yeah,
like
I
that.
prefer that.
I prefer
I
that.
prefer that when it's local co-op, like it's just all one screen and it just kind of zooms
You just
out
kind of
as
have to
people
stay
spread
together,
out.
yeah. But you don't.
Yeah.
I get distracted sometimes. I'll be like playing a kart racer game with my kid, and something will be like, "I'm kicking your ass," and you're like, "No, you're not," and I'm like, "Oh shit, I'm crashing into the wall." I'm looking at the wrong screen.
Yep.
Yes.
No, I definitely get that. Yeah, like I said, that looked really good. Obviously, Phantom Blade Zero. Eat it. Everybody who was talking about it looked like a tech demo, and there's no way it could be real because they shut everybody up.
Oh
That it
yeah,
looked phenomenal. Yeah, that they knocked that out the
I
park.
was
That
one
was
of
a
those
great
people.
showing.
Oh
Hey, that's
man.
okay. That's okay. Hey, look,
All right.
you saw the light. They showed you. Um, but yeah, like I said, that looked really good. The Karen game, the rock climbing one that Morgan mentioned. I was skeptical at first, and then I saw the day of the devs later where they showed how intricate it was and how complex the mechanics were, and like there's a ton of stuff going on in that game that you do not get just from that initial trailer. So that was really cool to see. So I'm definitely a lot more interested in that game. Like everybody said, the Killer Bean game was pretty funny. That was actually on my radar beforehand. Um, so I'm definitely interested in that. It just looks like something you could turn on and have a lot of fun with and then just hop off. So a nice little jump in, jump out kind of thing. Like was mentioned earlier, Omar had seen it for the first time. It wasn't revealed there. It's been announced for a while, but Sacrifier, being a highly tactical, combination of turn-based and action. That game has had me interested for a while, and I know it for sure it's at least launching on PC. I don't know about the other platforms personally, but if it's there, then I'll be playing it there. Um, there were a couple other things. There was something called the First Dwarf, I believe is what it was called. It was on the
yeah. I
screen
downloaded the
earlier.
demo for it.
Yeah, that looks really, really cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I like the aspect of like you're building up your area, defending it and stuff like that. I'm always for that kind of stuff. Deliver Us from Home, Kickstarter on the screen right now. Morgan is a big fan of the Deliver games. What was it? Deliver Us Mars, and Deliver Us Moon or something, I think. I always forget the names for those, but I know you
So
like those.
can I
Um,
highlight a few games?
yeah, go ahead if you got more.
Clockwork Ambrosia. It got a demo. It's but but it's gonna uh, be on my app for this one, but it's Metrovania.
Yeah.
Uh, but the
Really?
different,
Wouldn't have guessed that.
Was this the one that
but the
Morgan was talking
difference
about?
about,
Surprising.
but the difference about this one is actually you're killing enemies and crafting more weapons for yourself. So I'm gonna look forward to that. there is
See
a
my games
game.
on there on the screen. Sexy.
There is a
Mm-hmm.
game
The
called
precinct.
Hell on Hell of an Office. It's a fast-paced how do I say that? Third person where you run and jump and uh, almost platform through the level, and it cut over 100 level, I think. So I mean, yeah, I'm looking at the level right now. It got shorter levels and it got uh, longer levels. Um, Other than that, the first lap you already mentioned, and yeah, Far. Did you mention Farlands?
I did not.
Okay, Farlands is another interesting game, which is basically you're a dude in space and you need to collect minerals and support your ship, spaceship, and stuff like that. And it's also got a demo. And for me, it's super interesting. And it's like collect your shit and kind of like Fallout, but third person.
Yeah.
Also, you can harvest crops and crops and stuff like that. And all by all, shout out to uh, the devs. Like they can swing it, the indies can swing it.
Yeah, I agree. The
And
indies were the
one
highlight of
last,
all this stuff.
one last thing I want to mention, and maybe I have never been paying attention to this, or maybe right now they started doing it. Every single every single thing I'm being dishonest, but 99%, and I'm not being dishonest with this one, 99% of what they showed, they actively said, if you like what you're seeing, wishlist it, wishlist it, wishlist it. I have heard and read the word wishlist so many times.
It
It's
helps set expectations
I
about how
think
much money they're gonna get
it
on day one.
no
I
it
think
it
you I think you're paying attention to it now because you have a PC, but that's been they've been doing that
Yeah,
for a
they've been
while.
doing it for a while.
okay. I never heard of it. Then
Yeah,
I never paid attention
yeah, you
because I never
probably
had a PC.
yeah, about you probably ignore it because you didn't have a PC then, but now that you have a PC and you
Yeah,
can wish list things,
then
you'll
PlayStation has a
probably
wish list.
notice it.
then you can disregard this entire
Yeah.
conversation. Then I was
Yeah.
thinking maybe it's because how the industry is, they want more people now to buy games more than ever.
No, it's just
But
like
no,
Nelson said. It's just an expectation thing. They're like, hey,
I got you.
this
They
many
know if a
people are
lot of things are
interested.
wish listed, they're gonna have a lot of people day one. They want to know what to expect.
Yeah, because we talk about it all the time, right? When we see all these games, like, look at how much it's taken us just to remember games we just saw. Like, if you wish list it, it's going to give you updates. It's going to notify
And you're gonna be
you.
like, oh, that shit that's coming out. All of a sudden, instead of like 3 months later, you're like, oh, that shit that came out. Oh, because it's on sale in the store already. Like, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like,
I was
Yeah.
wrong. I apologize.
Yeah.
No, no, you're good. Yeah, we're just pointing out. Yeah, it's always been a big thing. It's just really a good reminder because the reality is, like we said, hundreds and thousands of games come out each year, and I mean, you could just see the few that we've been interested in. One in particular, like I said, Morgan pointed out to me the first time they showed it, which I left it on screen here on purpose for a minute because I wanted to highlight. It got a release date, The Precinct, which is
Oh
a
yeah, that's
really cool
another
looking
game
game.
that looks fantastic.
that's funny. I just shared that in a Discord like an hour ago.
Yeah, yeah, it looks
Hey,
amazing, and it's coming out August 15th for Steam, Epic Store, PS5, and the Series X and S. So if people were looking forward to that, just wanted to put that out there because that was a really great looking game that was shown a while
yeah,
ago.
the
It looks
present
really
looks
cool. The
real
art style
good.
is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
It's isometric.
I
Yep.
want
Um,
to point out that I was disappointed in one particular thing at the showcase. Everybody was saying the 2K reveal was going to be either the new
Oh, I know,
Mafia
Mafia.
or the new
I wanted
Borderlands, and then
Mafia
it
so
ended up being
bad.
Civilization.
Another
So
Nobody was happy.
forget everybody who was saying it was going to be Borderlands and stuff because they were like, yeah, man, that's 2K's next
I
reveal is
wanted to see a new
Borderlands 4.
Mafia so bad, but we all
Uh-huh.
got depressed instead.
Yeah,
I
forget y'all.
I
Another
hope I
game,
hope it does show up though. I hope it does at least show up
an,
at the Xbox showcase at the very least.
another another game that they showed that's super interesting. Eric's Home, The Stolen Dream. It's a top-down stealth game from what I've seen,
Hmm.
where you can stealth kill your enemies.
Okay, it's something I'll have to look into. I didn't see that one.
So yeah, it was a showcase. No, Morgan uh, shared it. This looked good on our group chat. It
Okay.
shows the name, so you can look up the gameplay later. Which again, the indies they came out swinging, new fresh ideas with that Game Boy game, that turn-based sacrifice game. Like indies are going bananas.
Yeah,
Oh,
You
this
have to
game,
as an
this is
indie
so.
because, yeah, I mean, if you don't set yourself apart, you might as well just say fuck it.
There
agreed.
is a game about you riding a bicycle and parkour.
Yeah, that was on screen earlier.
It's it's bananas the amount of games. I'm sorry, indies is like buffet for me.
I mean, and
So yeah,
it
let's
should
move
be. I mean
on.
There's
that's where
14,000 of them, so
yeah,
a
that's where you
year.
test ideas. That's where you get start initial franchises, potentially, and you go further, and you get these interesting ideas. I mean, Dystopica is on screen right now, which is literally just like listening to the dev talk about this earlier. That was the last thing I saw before the show, but he basically just spoke like he used to like to play SimCity with the cheat codes on. So it's not about managing the city or anything. You're just building a really cool looking city in a dystopian future. And he's just like already people in his Discord are building things in it that he never even thought was possible in his own game. And he's just looking to do, add really comprehensive modding tools and stuff and go forward and just let people enjoy the game. Like there's so many avenues for different ways to play games and so on and so forth. So honestly, the biggest thing I take away from the future game showcase and all these things is that if you are concerned about a lack of variety in gaming, then you need to simply expand the games that you play because
Your
there is no
palette.
lack of variety at all out here. Um,
Expand your palette, eh?
yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, but last but not least, we're about to get up out of here. Just real quick, obviously tomorrow is the Xbox showcase, 10 p.m. PT.
Is
Um,
it gonna save gaming?
or 10 a.m. Sorry, I said 10 a. I said 10 p.m. Sorry about that. I mean, I don't know yet. We're gonna see.
I
I'm
think they'll
excited.
have the
I'm
best
excited
show
for
this
it.
year. I know that's not a high bar, but
I mean, I think it's
that's a
easy.
very
It's
low bar.
easy to have the best show this year. I mean, they've got a lot that they have not shown. Um,
Yeah, they've had the same games they announced goddamn 5 years ago yet that they still gotta, you know what I mean? Really show.
yeah, it's time to show some stuff. It's time to reveal some release dates, so on and so forth. Just real quick, I'm just gonna run through. Give me, you know, a three at the most. If you got three, and what you think your potential score is going to be. Three games you're looking forward to, potentially seeing between that and the PC game showcase. If you have anything for that, and what your potential score will be for the Xbox showcase. Morgan, go.
Um, 3 games looking forward to.
Mm-hmm.
Stay of Decay, Replace.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, the
Uh,
trace.
shoot. Maybe some more Indiana Jones.
Do
Okay.
you have a release date
Score?
for the trace?
No.
Okay.
Um, Score. I think it's gonna be at least an 8.
Okay.
Yeah, I would hope.
Wow.
That's a safe bet. Okay.
Is that a
Given everything
safe
they
bet?
got. Well, given everything they have, given everything they have to show, I think it's a safe
Bro,
bet.
every time I've taken an L because every year I said there's gonna be a really good show.
I
Sucked the
mean,
last year, the year
I know.
before, the year before that, the year before. Like you gotta hit eventually, and then every year I look
I just
back at it.
think just because they have so much to show, I think like
I said
there's
that
the
the last 4
potential
years.
there to get an 8 or better because of the games they have to show. Now, if they actually get there, is the question. But I think they do have the potential. Like if the showing goes well, like not including the Call of Duty next part, because I honestly don't care about that, but just the
Yeah.
actual 2-hour showcase or whatever. Yeah, we'll
Agreed.
see. But I think they could hit 8.
Okay. Nelson, like I said, 3 games if you got them that you're excited about, potentially seeing, and your prediction for a score.
Replaced Indie and Clockwork Revolution.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
And 8, just because, I mean, it's just been. I always say at 9, I'm going an 8 this year just because they've made me look stupid so many years in a row.
Yeah, 9 is super high for me. Like, you got to go crazy
Yeah.
for a 9. So,
I know, but when you've been so bad for so long, it's like, you know what I mean? It's like the Lions even got better, you know what I mean?
mm-hmm.
The Lions.
No, I got you. Okay, cool. Now before I go to the next person, just wanted to point out Sacrifier is on screen. If you guys were interested in the game that Omar was pointing out earlier, that was that mix between action combat and turn based. That looks really phenomenal. So you can see that on screen while we're discussing the last part of this. Kay, like I said, score and 3 games you're potentially looking forward to seeing.
Um, Indiana Jones, uh, Replace, Perfect Dark, and the next Crackdown.
Yo.
I just, just
Okay.
I love it.
Okay. I see
But,
you.
Crackdown Infinite.
Crackdown Infinite,
I'm
yo.
just kidding.
Crackdown
I'm
Infinite.
just
I'm
kidding on
dead.
Crackdown. But the other 3 I was serious about.
Okay. That's what's up. Um, and then your potential score.
Ah, man. I'm gonna say a. I'm gonna give it a B, maybe a B minus.
Okay. That's what's up. So we all following about the same range. Uh, all right. And then, Weeb, how about you?
Um, yeah, I don't know if that was in the leaks, but I hope seeing the new Doom. Though,
Okay.
if I had to choose, I would rather see New Wolfenstein, but that's just me.
Agreed.
Same,
Agreed.
but that ain't gonna happen. That's Indie.
Yeah, I know, no. OD, the Kojima game. Want to see more
Oh
about it,
yeah.
what it's actually
Oh yeah.
about.
No doubt.
And South of Midnight. That
Mm.
You
Absolutely.
compulsion, I
didn't
think.
drop the
Yeah.
game that I wanted to drain drop, but okay.
Mm-mm.
I
Not
mean, you
for
can
Not for
still.
me.
me.
You still have time to think of something else, Omar.
I have I have
Yeah.
a few games that I think I thought of.
All right. And then your
What?
potential score. Go ahead. Go ahead if you got
What?
something else.
No. I just thought of something, but I think that's probably also some speculation that's going on. But the thing is, like they have this deal with Toys for Bob, right?
Mm-hmm.
And everybody's like, oh yeah, they're gonna make another Crash or another Spyro, but what if they make another Banjo?
True.
Well,
Oh yeah,
apparently they
that's
partnered
what
up
they
with
want.
them.
What about a new Jack and Dexter?
They partnered
They,
up with
they,
them.
The third
they
party
can't.
now.
What, Jack and Daxter is not?
And what? No, I mean Microsoft.
Oh,
They might
okay,
pay
okay.
Sony to.
Oh,
They're
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
stuff with their
that
IPs. I mean, think about
that
it.
that would be really convoluted that they would make a deal with Xbox and to then make a deal with PlayStation to make one of their IPs. Okay,
I can
yeah,
see
but
it.
whatever.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah,
licensing out IPs and stuff, and I'm just saying.
yeah, sure. But uh, I don't know. I'm gonna be optimistic and say 7.
Okay. Cool. And then Omar, what you got for me? Score
What up?
and 3 games.
So what would the what did we give it score wise?
7.
Okay, 7. Okay, so I am going to start with a game that I don't think I had people say Fable.
Okay.
I'm
Yeah.
excited for Fable.
Same.
I already
Uh,
know they ain't gonna show that, or at least anything
I'm
big
excited.
on it. So
I'm excited to see what the fuss is about with Perfect Dark.
Perfect
We've
Dark.
been
Yeah.
hearing that Perfect Dark is gonna be the best thing since sliced bread. Show me.
We have.
If you can't show me, then stop talking about it.
Agreed. It's been
I
way
don't
too
think we're
long.
gonna see Fable for like another 4 years, to be honest.
yeah,
Oh
exactly. That's
man,
why
I
I said
don't,
that.
before.
but
I
I
think it'll
don't
be
care.
next gen.
I don't care about that. I just want to see what the fuss is about. We've been hearing
I
so
don't
much.
think we're going to see Perfect Dark for another 50 years.
I don't think Perfect Dark's ever coming out. So
That's
to
I
be
fair.
got it
completely
on the
honest.
Nintendo 64, so I'm okay.
Oh man.
Yeah, same.
What's your last game, Omar?
So, so South of Midnight, we already started from me.
Yeah, I know you were really
Um,
interested when you first saw that game, so that makes sense.
yeah. What other game? I don't know about Blade if it's gonna be showcased in the show. So
Mm-hmm.
that's another one.
If they do, you ain't gonna see none of the gameplay.
Which game?
They just
He
started
said
that
he
like
said
2 months ago.
Blade.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I doubt we see any Blade.
That's like 2030.
yeah, it's
Just gameplay, nothing else.
potentially.
No, we're not gonna see gameplay. I doubt it because
You ain't gonna
they're
see
that
gameplay until
that was
PS6 out.
they said they were in very early production of that game.
They
That it
just
was
got the
just kind of them.
name.
Yeah, that was just them showing that they're making the game. So I doubt we're gonna see any
Right.
gameplay. That's coming out probably with the next console.
Mm-hmm.
It was like the equivalent of when they revealed the Wolverine for PlayStation.
Yeah,
So.
essentially.
Yeah, pretty much. In about 5 years, you'll see this game. Okay.
And then what's your score, Omar?
My score, the boss just killed me at the very last health bar. But my score is really tough. I'm not joking with this one. They're gonna come out swinging. I'm gonna give them between an A and an S. I genuinely believe they can fuck this.
Between a what?
An A and an S rank.
Between
He
an
said
A and
an
an S.
A
No,
and a
give.
an A
I
and a
want a
double
real
S.
score. Oh,
What?
you
An
said
A
an A
and a
and an
double
S?
S.
I mean,
Oh,
an
they
A.
said an A
Double
and an
S.
F.
An A and an
Oh,
S.
I
S.
thought he
S.
said an A and an F. I was like, wait,
No, he
what
did.
No,
kind
no,
of
no, no,
range is
no.
that?
S. S. S.
He's S.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
thought he said F.
I genuinely
No,
believe
no.
they can mess this up.
Okay.
I
So you
be,
think
I
they're in
believe.
between? They're gonna at least do a great job, or they're gonna knock it out the park. Like there's no way they're gonna be below.
Yeah, there is absolutely like everything. Like how do I say that? Like PlayStation, there's no competition. Summer Game Fest
See, Omar's are at where I was at 20.
didn't show us anything that like okay, this is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So the only thing that could rival them is Ubisoft,
Okay.
and Ubisoft is sleeping. So I genuinely believe they're gonna make it out the park, and I believe they're gonna show us what they're working on.
Yeah.
Also, I'm curious. Are we gonna see things hitting PlayStation from them?
During their Xbox show.
Not at this show.
Woo. Yeah,
Not at the show.
that's a fun controversial
You'll find out a
take
couple
lately.
weeks later, a couple months later. Guaranteed.
We know the next Doom is already rumored to be on PlayStation.
Yeah, it'll be. I mean, it'll be interesting. I don't think
It
they'll do
won't
it
be at
there,
the
but
show.
yeah, I don't think it'll be at the show just because they're already in enough hot water. So that's the main reason I don't think it'll be at the show. But yeah, no, I get that.
Mhm.
For me in particular, I guess, I mean, Fable. I mean, I personally expect to see more of that. Like I said, just from all the noise the developer and themselves were making. So I expect to see some actual, full-on gameplay that I don't have to blink and miss. Um, so yeah, I definitely expect that. Replace, like I said, I'm ready to lock in a release date for that and see the final gameplay for that. And then I got my last two in particular would be Stalker 2, because again, it's time to lock that in as well. That's set to be coming later this fall, and I want to see if they're really going to do something new and get a solid reboot and some solid fanfare behind a new Gears of War. I want to see if they're really going to do something new with it.
Oh yeah, I forgot the next Gear of War. That's
Yeah.
rumored to cure cancer.
Yeah.
That
So I mean, we got to go to.
I lost a lot of hope after the last 3.
I mean, I agree. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of the franchise in the first place, but I'm just like, if you can entice me, if we can go to space, we can do something. I don't know, do something new. Like you gotta level it up at this point.
Quit
Like
going backwards.
Yeah, they keep going
At
back.
very
Like
least.
and worried about history and stuff like that. Forward. Like the chainsaw gun was like, all right, I get it. It's a staple. You make a new
Y'all need to
version
do
of it,
something new. We've been doing this for 6 games. Y'all need to reinvent yourself.
Exactly. Like
That God of War moment. Like,
exactly.
And the story got to stop
I
sucking.
honestly would prefer...
Nobody give a fuck about Kate. Kill her off.
Coalition's a very talented studio, and I would honestly like them to move on to a new IP, but I doubt that's gonna happen. So if you're gonna stick with Gears,
Yeah, I was hoping they were making a Judge Dredd. There was rumors about that, and I was like, I'm all for that shit.
I think they would make an amazing Judge Dredd.
I
Me
agree.
too. Because Gears ain't been it.
Yeah,
I used to love Gears.
but if
They
you're gonna
keep
stick
getting
to
worse.
Gears, I would like a little refresh on the formula. Do something.
So do you
man, 'cause
think they're gonna knock it out of the park?
I mean, I'm gonna say just you talking about Coalition, or you mean?
No, I'm talking about
okay.
Xbox. That's all.
Yeah, I mean,
Is there a way
I
for
think
them to
the ball is in their court to do so, but the problem, my only
times, though.
well, that's what I'm saying. My problem with Xbox
The
is
ball
usually
is
when
not in their
they
court.
no, I
The
mean
ball is
no.
literally
I mean it's in their court to like, as in they can win the game. They could score the most points. All the marbles, the whole 9 yards. They have all the cards, but every time Microsoft is set up that way, they fumble. So
They fumble.
yeah, but I'm like, this seems almost impossible to fumble. Like this is like an insane, like this. I would have zero faith in them if they fumble this below an 8. So for me, it's an 8. Like if I just can't see. Like there's no way you should fumble below an 8 with everything that you have in your in your repertoire.
You've
like
been holding your games for years, man. Like
like no way. There's way too much
if they
to
went
show.
to bought Bethesda, all they would have released this generation was fucking Halo and Forza.
That about all their previous shows, and they fumbled them. So I'm not.
I mean, they had a lot to potential, but like now everything, like we're talking about stuff has been factually delayed. Like we mentioned, Perfect Dark. Like that's
all
literally
the
4
CGI
years.
shit they've been showing for years. It's like eventually you got to show all this shit. You don't.
Exactly. So yeah, I mean, an 8 minimum. Like it needs to be an 8 minimum. Like you need to excite people about the brand. You need to tell us what's around the corner, what's coming, and it can't just be third-party stuff that's also going to be on PlayStation. So
More CGI videos.
Yeah, more CGI videos. Yeah, cut that out. So yeah, if you're showing something
More
brand
just
new,
titles, and that's it.
yeah, if you're showing something really brand new and a new concept and stuff, cool. But like the rest of this stuff, it's time to start pushing this stuff out the door. Like this has been the problem with Xbox the whole time. Is look forward to Gamescom. Look forward to this. Look forward to this. No, stop looking forward, bro. I need to play something. You need to start delivering stuff. And what you've delivered so far clearly is not working because 90% of the people who have apparently played your last release game have not completed it. So obviously that ain't compelling enough.
Right.
So yeah,
and that shit ain't a $100 game.
Exactly. Yeah, like that game is extremely short. So clearly you're missing the ball somewhere. So yeah, I mean it's up to them to fail. But like I said, I can't see it being below an 8. That's where I'm at with it.
You know what I hope? I really, really want Xbox. I want their show to be an A-S tier. I want it to be because if it is, then I would hope that would force PlayStation's hand.
Yes, that's
And
what I said.
PlayStation needs. PlayStation needs.
Yeah, if it goes
to
on
be,
to 6, they're gonna be like, oh, we were gonna show these games, but man, all we gotta do is like show 3 games and we're good. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I think it's one of those things where PlayStation needs to feel a little shame and like get a little humility and
Well,
say,
they need to
you
feel
know
the
what,
pressure.
we need to show our we need to show
Yeah, if it's shit, they're like,
our
we can hold these 5 games because, I mean, we're going to just slaughter them with these couple games.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely. Xbox
yeah, because
come and show out. Get PlayStation off their
This
ass.
shit can wait for later. We don't need this. I
Yeah,
mean, we already had a show. We ain't got a show at 10.
yeah.
We can
Morgan
hold these
actually
couple
said that
games. We
literally
good.
yesterday while we were playing the game, and we were talking on the phone and stuff. And me, her, and Fox were talking, and she was like, "Yeah, like they need to. PlayStation needs that pressure. They need to, they need that get off their ass motivation.
Yeah,
Obviously
thank you.
we're
Talk
playing
about it.
a lot of good stuff, but like I said,
Ooh.
it's this whole lack of a showcase. Like I said, I'm basing this on what I know about PlayStation as a fan from them from over 25 years. I've never had to question the future of PlayStation. That roadmap that I'm a personal
right.
fan of. People. I don't really care if other people feel like they need it. I need it. This is something I've always had, and I want that
Yeah, they've
from
been
them.
crazy this gen though. Like, we know about games for 6 months and then they release. Like, what the fuck? Like,
Yeah, like I don't.
Helldivers, Returnal, Ratchet and Clank. We knew about that shit months, not years, months before release.
Yeah, so
Astrobot, fuck.
yeah, I'm definitely hoping that they really kick it up a notch and, like you said, force their hand, force them to feel like they need to react. Hopefully, they shift that at least the mind share, as they like to say, the mind share of the momentum, where PlayStation feels like, all right, yeah, we're in the lead, yeah, we're kicking ass, but like we need to remind people why we're in the lead. Let's show them that, let's put up now and show them what we really got.
Do they care?
I'm gonna let the games do the talking.
Yeah, but do they care? Do they actually care to do that?
I mean, I can't answer you that, but that's what I'm saying. I think I know that companies react to pressure. Companies react to better products. I mean, it happens in everything. Intel versus AMD, Nvidia versus AMD, Microsoft versus Apple. Like they're always reacting to each other when the other one puts out something phenomenal. So I don't think PlayStation's any different, and they'll realize they have to show something in order to, because PlayStation doesn't never wants to lose the momentum. You never want to sacrifice the momentum just because you're in the lead, because that is what happens to companies that people believe are too big to fail. That's what Microsoft has done in the past with the Zune and the Microsoft phone and all these other things. They were, we're too big to fail, so we're just going to put this device out there.
PlayStation with PlayStation 3.
Yeah, I mean, until they woke up year 3, got it out the mud, and they earned it. So yeah, hopefully that's what happens.
Yeah, they did earn the comeback back, but they had to work for it.
They did. But anyway, that's the end of it. Like I said, it'll be exciting to see what happens. Again, reminder, if anybody forgot, 10 a.m. Tomorrow PT is the Xbox Showcase. But anyway, we're about to get up out of here. It was a great show. I enjoyed my time with everybody. We let people know where they can find you.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter as the Weeb Sheriff at Infinite Rhizome, and yeah, great show. Got to check what time it is tomorrow here, so I got to work on Monday. So
Late at night, I think midnight, after midnight.
yeah, I'll check it out. If it's not too late, I'll join you.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, yeah, Other Nation.
Otter Nation.
Otter Nation.
Otter Nation.
Cool. Nelson, where people can find you?
Nelson Gaming 12 all over the place. If that don't work, I don't want you to find me.
Absolutely. Well said. Morgan, if you want to be found, where can people find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Chill Bandit. Posting about games, talking about games, playing games, beating games. Xbox Showcase tomorrow, so I'll be posting about that. Hopefully it'll be positive tweets about how I'm excited to boost it up on the Nvidia Shield, but where I'm hoping for a good show tomorrow, so we'll see.
Agreed. Kay, where can people find you, ma'am? Oh.
Nowhere.
It didn't come out. Like she went to speak, but like nothing came out.
Oh, no.
You,
There you go. There you go. Now it's working.
can you hear me now?
Yeah, we got you.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
All right. All right. You can find me on Twitter at You can find me on Twitter at Kaylee 1103. And Otter Nation, and I'm gonna try and catch the Xbox showcase tomorrow. Because this otter bleeds green, baby.
Ooh.
No doubt, no doubt. And last but not least, Omar, where can the people find you, sir?
So you can find me at Caravan Job on Twitter and Vitamin G podcast every Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Vitamin G crew are actually doing what you call it, live reaction to the show.
Oh, I bet they
So
are. The big old
come
bots
through
they
and
are.
enjoy it. Me, on the other hand, I'm gonna be up there with you guys.
Exactly. We're the real
I'm
people
gonna
at.
watch it later. I gotta go. I gotta work. I haven't gotten anything done this weekend because I've been gone all day today. I'm gonna work on my deck, come in and watch it in 4K afterwards because I like to work
Oh, okay.
outside before it gets to the heat of the day. So
Oh, yeah, I definitely understand that.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, and then as me today as your host, you can find me on Twitter at the real innate. Again, like Morgan said, playing these games, finishing these games, and hopefully enjoying an amazing show from Xbox and the PC Game Show tomorrow. And finally getting to see some gameplay from Killing Floor 3, which I'm a big fan of their previous iteration. So I cannot wait. But other than that, everybody have a good night, and Otter Nation.